All right, good evening. I'd like to call this Town of Cromwell Board of Finance meeting to order. It is 7:01. Pledge of Allegiance, please. Let's go. All right, can I have a motion to be able to seat Mr. Fideli in for Mr. Keller?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by the Vice Chair, second by Mr. DeProto. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Jamie, welcome to the party. All right, approval of the agenda. I think we're in good shape. Yeah, good. Next item up, citizens' comments. And I am so lucky we actually have citizens to come comment. So, if you would like to come out to the podium, Tony, is the mic set? Do we know? There we go. If you would like to provide any public comment tonight, just ask for your name and your address, and we want to leave it to about 3 minutes. And if we can, try to save if someone has already kind of brought up a topic or brought up a point to kind of go on to something else, just so we're not repeating ourselves. But I'm not really worried about that. We only have a handful here. But if someone would like to come up and say a few words, come on down. Price is Right style. Let's go. Good evening. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. Name and address, please.
My name is Mason Slifer, 17 Congress Drive.
Please go ahead.
I'm a Cromwell resident, graduate of Cromwell High School, class of 2023. I'm also currently employed as a substitute teacher and the girls lacrosse coach and indoor track coach at Cromwell High School. I'm also in the, I go to school at CCSU and for physical education. I think this track serves so many benefits to this town. It can be used by all the students in the town. Every sport uses the track, not just cross country. It's used in conditioning for football, boys and girls basketball, boys and girls lacrosse. All the students use it. It's used in a majority of the PE and health classes as well, and it's in rough shape. It's a safety issue for the students, for the student athletes and the students. I know opposing fans come to Cromwell and they see our facilities and they think they are poor, and the track is the start of that. It's breaking apart. There's pieces falling. There's rips at the edges. And so I think the track needs to get done for the safety of the students, and it is a move that will benefit the kids now and the future kids of Cromwell Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on down. Don't be shy. Good. Name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Casey Lamb, and I live at 12 High Ridge Road. I'm a student athlete at Cromwell High School, and I've been sort of running at the track even before sort of coming to Cromwell High School. And I play soccer and do indoor and outdoor track. And I really love doing indoor and outdoor track and sort of running with everybody because it's sort of like a big track family that we all sort of grow together and work together and train. And we're always at the track a lot. I run hurdles, so I'm in sort of the 100 lane a lot. And in this lane, there's sort of worn down in a lot of places, so there's not a lot of sort of grit and grab with like your spikes, so you can't really run as fast, and especially when you're trying to run fast in a race. And when other schools sort of come to our school, like he said, it's sort of kind of embarrassing for other schools because they always say how our facilities are sort of breaking apart and how like there's pieces of the track missing, especially on the curve. There's like big chunks missing, and you have to sort of swerve around, which is kind of a safety problem. As well as when it rains, sort of on the 100 spot, there's spots where it's like worn down more, so it can be a little slippery, so we have to watch out for that as well. And yeah.
All right, hi everyone. I'm Jessica Lamb, 12 High Ridge Road, and a parent of a track and soccer player at Cromwell High School. So I've also been on the track. I won't reiterate what it looks like. I know that if I spend any time on the track, I go to lane 3 or something higher because you can't go in lane 1. So to me, it's not a matter of if we should fix the track or when we should fix the track. It's which month and which week and which day we get started. So because it is a safety issue, truly, our athletes are not paying attention or shouldn't be paying attention to where exactly their feet are landing. They just need to be running and focused on the goal. So to me, this is a matter of safety, a matter of pride, and it's something that we should absolutely be doing and funding as soon as possible. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Patrick Monahan. I am a captain of the cross-country team. I'm a senior here at Cromwell High School. I don't think it's a question whether we should or should not have the track redone. I think the track's older than I am. I'm pretty sure it can legally drink as well. I know about 4 different levels, if you will, that the track affects Cromwell as a whole. Myself, my team, our schools, and the community as a whole. So myself, I'm a distance runner. And when I'm using the track, I'm in lane 1. I'm going between like 4 and 5 minutes a mile, and that may not seem fast on paper, but if I hit one of those potholes that we have probably mentioned before, I'm spraining an ankle. I would be out for 2 or 4 weeks at the very best. I actually was at practice today, and I took pictures of what the first curve, so this is a quarter of the track, not even the entire track. So these are pieces that are missing along the first curve. That is that first portion of the track. That is where I sprained my ankle freshman year. Just so everybody can see. The track team as a whole makes up at least 20% of the entire school. That's just not everybody who does sports, that's the school as a whole. You should come to one of our practices and see how much we use the track. It's affecting a lot of people. And in terms of our school, everybody uses the track. That's contrary to popular belief that it's only affecting a small amount of people. The basketball team was practicing today. During the summer, when we do workouts, it's not just the cross-country team. It's the football team, it's both soccer teams, baseball, basketball, volleyball, lacrosse, everybody's using the track. Not only our school, the middle school, they have a track team of about 80 kids that comes over in the spring and they practice on our tracks. If we have these health issues that are causing runners to get injured, like it's just, we can't have it. In terms of the community, I'll go back to the school, it's not just the sports teams that use this. I've seen the unified sports and special ed use the track as a means of getting exercise, where we're giving kids who are have certain conditions an opportunity to get exercise. In terms of the community, I've worked out at 6 a.m., I've worked out at 9 p.m. I see people at the track every single time of day. I've seen kids with muscular dystrophies, physical conditions that you can't even imagine, and their parents can push them around the track so they can get fresh air. As a community, if we do not get fund this track, it's like, what are we doing as a town? Because I wouldn't want to live here. I'm sure other people wouldn't want to live here if we're not able to allocate funds to this. It may be this orange oval to a lot of people, but it means so much more to the community than you could ever possibly imagine. Thank you for your consideration.
Just real quick before you go, could you just provide your address?
My address, 6 Castle Drive, Cromwell, Connecticut.
Okay. Thank you. And trust me, I don't think anyone up here thinks a 5-minute mile is a joke. I pulled both my hamstrings, you just saying it. Anybody else? Once? Twice? Okay. We'll move on from citizens' comments. I did receive a text from Chair Kelleher. She is planning on providing the Board of Ed liaison report, but I believe she is running from another meeting and said that she might be a little late. So unless anyone has any objection, we'll move on to item G1, and then we'll circle back when she arrives. Any objection? Okay. All right. Can I have then a motion for discussion and possible action to approve an appropriation in the amount of $44,548 for building envelope sealing in the Belden Public Library's Belden Room within the general fund balance?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Waganowski, seconded by Mr. DeProto. Mr. Harriman, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
All right, so why don't you give us a little background as far as what's going on up in the roofs here?
Sure, so it looks like everybody received something in their packet terms of a memo from me, a scope of work, and some information on the contractor? Okay, great. Since the library has opened, we've had an ongoing issue with humid air getting into the building and creating some discomforts, and as well as creating condensation, which winds up dripping on the patrons in the floor. Over the course of a few years since we opened, we've tried a number of things to fix it. At first, we mistakenly thought that the skylights were leaking because it was a recent rainfall. Once we determined it wasn't rainfall, it became apparent that humid air was getting into the building. So one of the first things we tried was shutting off the fans in the bathrooms. The bathrooms have these high velocity fans that suck a lot of air, and they're designed to draw fresh air into the building because the building is supposed to leak a little bit. And as it turns out, it's leaking quite a bit more than it should. So that didn't work. We tried mixing the stratified air. I don't know if you've been in there, but it's a cathedral ceiling with a number of skylights. So it, on warm, humid days, it's noticeable. We weren't aware that we had a wintertime issue until I took it upon myself to go up on the roof after a recent snowfall. Got here early, went on the roof when it was still well below freezing, and all of the rooftops up there had, just a nice blanket of snow on it, whereas the Belden Library peaked roof of the new room was almost completely melted. And it was in a number of strange patterns and areas throughout the roof. So ultimately what we've done, in addition to deploying dehumidifiers through the space and sealing gaps and cracks and such, the problem keeps recurring. We keep thinking it's licked, and so we reached out to a specialist in the industry of sealing building envelopes. They did a full inspection, and they crawled up into the room has flat ceilings, sheetrock flat ceilings. One side has an access way that they were able to crawl into, and they discovered a number of areas where this air is infiltrating as well as the peaked roof. So you have their scope of work before you. You have the dollar amount. We're very confident that this will fix our issues.
All right. Actually, I'm going to open up to the group. I don't have anything off the bat, so why don't we start this way? Mr. Fidelli, go ahead.
Sure, thanks. Two questions. So just on page 11 of the contract, it just mentions that we'll be able to provide like a 10.5-hour window for the contractor to work instead of a 5. Do we think that's reasonable? Or, like, we'll be able to accommodate that schedule?
We'll cancel everything in there just to get it done, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then second question to your comment about like the snow that had melted, like, is there any potential that caused water damage? Because is our drainage system capable of handling that volume? And
Oh yeah, there's a number of what do you call them, roof drains up there that were part of the old building and that were incorporated into the new building, and it certainly can handle the runoff. I mean, it handles torrential rainfalls with no issues that we've had yet.
okay, thank you. That's it.
And thank you for getting this stuff to us. We unfortunately had a mail problem, so we just got it yesterday or today, most of us.
Oh, I wasn't aware.
No, like I said, it was the mail, it wasn't you.
Yeah, I've heard things about Cromwell.
I just took a quick look at this today. It seems like we have everything we need in here about how to fix the problem, but there's, to me, the big missing people is, why do we have the problem? This is a less than 6-year-old renovation.
Sure.
How did this happen?
Well, the report details that they find faults in the design and the construction.
So, the failure of the engineer, failure of the architect, failure of
Well, they
construction?
don't specifically say. I've been speaking to the building official about this,
Right.
and the plan that was submitted, in their opinion, was a code compliant plan that was approved for construction, and ultimately they received a certificate of occupancy from our building department for the completed project. They specifically call out I'm going to call it foam board insulation. That's probably not the technical term, but the insulation up there is a rigid foam board, right? It's I think it's 4 or 5.5 inches thick. They are saying that should have been done in 2 layers, 2.5 inches. That's not a code issue. That's a it probably would have been better if
Right.
concern. So the last board that looked at this to approve it, the town council, they wanted to know about, which I'm guessing you're getting at, is looking towards the architect and the contractor for any kind of damages or compensation. So-
Exactly, yeah.
So per the council's directive, we reached out to the town attorney and spoke to the contract law person. And his opinion was that if you could prove it, due to the low figure we're talking about here, he said the only one that's gonna win is me, being the attorney's firm.
Yeah.
You're gonna spend a lot to maybe win. And so, we're continuing to think about that, but
Okay.
the fact is that we have this issue. The reason we're coming to you now rather than in January is that if we wait till July 1 to put this out, you're gonna have missed another season.
Oh, yeah.
So we're looking to get up there and get this work done. There's some exterior work and some interior work. We're losing the window on the exterior work in the next month or so.
Adam,
Oh, I
so-
think we,
So just before you jump, just for clarity's sake, when you mentioned about the attorney, saying the only one that's gonna win, just for clarity's sake, what you're saying is that you're gonna have to spend so much on the attorney
Yeah,
that the juice
exactly.
won't be worth the squeeze to do all the, is that, I just wanna make sure for clarity's sake, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they want the revenue, but for him to say that, to me, was very telling.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we were all clear what that meant. Okay, go ahead, Ed.
yeah, no, I get it. But obviously, and as always in these situations, there's two distinctions. One is, it's not unlike the track, actually, but there's things that you have to do, and you have to spend the money no matter what. And then there's another question, which is under our purview as well, which is, how'd we get in this situation, and why are we spending all this extra money? You know, they're not necessarily tied together, but they're both things we need to know. So, you know, I'm gonna say right now, I mean, there's no question we have to do this, and when the time comes, I'm gonna be voting for it. Having said that, still wanna get a sense of, there's a lot of reasons. Are we ever gonna use these same contractors again? Has anybody in the town failed to read up to their responsibilities? Do we need to have new training for somebody who was involved in approving this, or, yeah, I have no idea. But obviously, you know, if you're saying it met code, well, does that mean the code's inadequate? You
Yes.
know, should we have known that before we got there? You
I'll
know,
tell you that, most of the building officials will tell you that code for this type of stuff is years
yeah,
behind where it should be. And to me, after speaking to Air Barrier Solutions, I think we'd be better off if any building moving forward, we had someone like them look at it from that perspective so that it is built to better than code.
okay,
Because code seems to be a little bit behind.
okay. And do we have a sense of, why didn't we do that before? I mean, this is all news to us? We never knew this was a problem?
I didn't know.
Yeah, this is not something that's normally within my purview.
Well, again, it's
I
not
don't-
like
I don't
I'm
know building
pointing at
science like
anybody
that.
in the room, I'm just saying, I'd like to think that when the town does projects of this sort, we employ the people who will know, you know, whether they work or not. And if it's a situation where we're getting condensation, leakage, whatever it is, any sort of water problem, almost immediately, that we would have found that out from the folks involved in that project at the time, whether it was our contractors or our employees, you know, as the case may be. So although it's certainly, at some point, we're gonna have to make a decision as to whether it is a reasonable effort to try to actually enforce the question of whether we wanna get involved in legal action to get some money back. I think we should at least not be sort of shrugging our shoulders and say, well, something went wrong. We should have a better sense of why this wasn't taken care of properly in the first place. So I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. Thank you.
Hey, John, timing, are they available to start this like near term? I guess if we go ahead and say yes to this, like within weeks or months, they can start, or?
Yeah, they're looking to get in here before the temperatures dip too cold, and knowing that we had to go through the process of going to the council and the Board of Finance, we gave them a date of when we would be the earliest of able to move forward, and they were comfortable with that.
Good. You know, just given the history of this and all this, you know, kind of like hard to solve problem and all, is part of this, like, will they come back in a year or so and kind of test again and just make sure everything is going the way we think it should, or it's gonna be more on us if we see more of this issues, like, oh, maybe it's not working or something, or in the end, only because it has to go through so many seasons, and I was just wondering if they're gonna come back or not, or what's your thoughts on, should they come back?
I think it's a one-time scope. I can certainly ask them.
Maybe just ask, like, what,
Yeah.
is it, I'm sure there's probably some cost, I'm just curious if it's not that much, it might just be worth having them come back, only because we've had to go through so much with this, maybe just
I
something.
know that they're gonna do like a before and after. They have the before of the blower door test,
Sure.
if you're familiar with
Yep.
what that is. And they're gonna perform an after blower door test. I mean, I'm assuming it's simple enough in a year to do another blower door test.
And to that point, I guess, sometimes if you overseal, unless you have a way to get air from the outside and, you know, kind of manage air in to like do that, that's how buildings, what's their thoughts on that? Are they gonna try to they're gonna try to overseal, but are they worried about sealing it too much and we're gonna create a different problem? or-
No, that wasn't a concern of theirs. They wanted us, they wanna seal it up enough where this problem goes away. I mean, they give you figures on how many linear feet of crack, they think they're sealing, and it's pretty significant.
I mean, Steve, just real quick before I jump it over to you, Matt. I mean, are you almost looking at like a warranty kind of question? Is that what you're kind of?
yeah.
Like, they come in, they do the work, these guys are solid. I was just going back through it, trying to see if
I was looking at the bottom of page 1 where it says
is it-
under
okay,
financial,
Is it that?
it says, you know, it says the project is budgeted at whatever, not
Yeah.
including bond and or QA/QC, which I believe stands for quality assurance, quality control. So I'm wondering what does that mean? Does that mean, you know, you get what you get and we're not gonna check our work? I just, that's kind of followed on kind of similar to what Steve and John are asking, you know?
I believe that to be like a third-party testing.
Oh, not including bond or, okay. So if for some reason after their work, we decided we wanted to get someone in there to check it out, that's on our nickel.
Right.
But from your, first off, have we ever worked with these people before, do you know?
No, but they came as a recommendation from our retired building official, in that building officials have to go through annual trainings and collecting hours of trainings. They've received training from these people in the past. We did extensive research trying to find someone else that might be qualified to do this type of work and could provide us another number. We weren't able to find it, anybody that's capable of that. I've had it done to my home, twice actually, through that thing on your energy bill. And I reached out to a couple of the vendors through Eversource, and none of them were interested in looking at a commercial institutional building like ours. So
Well, let me cut to my quick question, then I'll let him move on. I mean, if they come and do the work, and then this winter hits, and we're still dealing with the issue, I guess I'm just asking, like, is there anything in here that I may have missed or whatever that's a safeguard that they're gonna come out and, you know, just take care of it again, like, you know, that warranty or that guarantee?
I also don't see it in there, so I can't answer that question.
All right.
I mean, we would certainly reach out to them. I can't imagine that they would say, well, it's gonna be another $44,000. You know.
Yeah.
I expect this to work.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Matt.
No, just a suggestion, maybe you did, John, for whoever had done the work before, I agree, like pursuing the legal route isn't worth it, but, you know, just going back and letting them know, hey, you know, we're paying $44,000 to clean up some of the mistakes that were done, a lot of it's workmanship issues, you know, quick job, shoddy job, you send them the pictures.
Yep.
Just say if this is reflective of the work you're doing, you know, we're gonna keep that in mind for future use, and you know, we have other municipalities we know as well. So I don't know if they would say, hey, you know, why don't we come there and do X, Y, Z? I think we still have this company do the testing and all that. But if they're willing to say, hey, we can, you know, have some pride or some workmanship to maintain a reputation, you know, maybe they'll try to save some face, but.
Well, I guess to piggyback that, the company that did the original work, I'm assuming we engage with them for other projects throughout the town? Are they a normal vendor or no?
No, that was a project that was designed and then bid. They haven't responded to any bids of ours since then. You know,
Okay.
they're a building contractor, so there haven't been very many projects that we've
Sure.
put out to bid since then. I guess there was the Pearson Park Field House. They did not bid on that.
I'm sorry, hold on. Say it again, Tony.
We would not use them again.
That's, to your point, Matt, you know, life's about leverage. So, there you go.
To Mr. Harriman's point, it was designed and constructed in accordance with the building official. The architect designed it and it meets state code. So it often amazes me with the building officials. They have an association, but they don't seem to address the legislature in an appropriate manner to update a number of issues with building codes that I've found over the years, even including if the chief building official is out in one municipality, it's almost ridiculous that you can't borrow a chief building official from another jurisdiction if you go right by the state statute. A lot of their statutes are antiquated, in my opinion, need to be addressed in their association. It doesn't appear to keep track of that and bring them up. But this structure was built to code, and that's part of the problem here, correct? At least according to our chief building official.
Hi, thanks, John, Kara, for being here. I'm just wondering if either of you know if there's any like collateral damage, if you will. Like in some of these photos, I see what looks like probably mold or something growing. Is there any chance that there's other stuff or cleanup that might be hidden once they engage in this?
So some of the building steel would appear to be needing of some paint work. So it's a white ceiling with a gray exposed beams. Those beams, they were gray, and that what you're looking at, I'm guessing, is the discoloration, possibly rust that's up there.
But nothing that you've seen requiring kind of abatement of any kind?
No.
Yeah.
Damage to books or?
So there's no books in that room, but we did safeguard some of our equipment. So like our 3D printers are in there, and they're pretty touchy with humidity. So we have dehumidifiers with that, and we've encased all the filament to make sure that it doesn't get moist. So we are doing things to sort of make sure we're not having issues. And then, when really humid days, we go in and we have to dry mop the floor before programs because it will just drip.
Well, thank you for looking out for people.
Yeah,
All right.
let's try.
We had a similar issue in the foyer of Town Hall that was remedied through CNR a couple of years ago. The atrium roof there was having a similar issue where humid air was infiltrating through the panels, those translucent panels, condensing on the exposed steel and then dripping in the foyer. That problem was remedied by replacing those translucent panels, reapplying the mastic that seals it, etc.
One last one. In general, like I wasn't clear from this, again, like Ed mentioned, we only recently got this. So I was wondering, it discusses what the cost is or what the workday would look like, but how long is this project intended to go? Like, is it gonna be a couple of days or?
That's in
Yeah,
there. They're
I think
looking for 4
Jamie
people.
actually
Yeah.
brought it up. They've got a certain schedule. Jamie, what page was that? Do you remember?
It's 4 people, 4 days, 4 10.5-hour days. So it's like, what is that, like 160 plus hours of
Okay,
labor
yeah, okay, good.
materials.
All right, good, thank you.
Background? Ed?
I'm just noticing this the first time. Not using prevailing wage.
It's under 100,000. 100,000 would be the tipping point for prevailing wage. I think that number should be much higher personally, but that is the number.
The anything, I mean, would it be possible to add that warranty in there or something?
I will reach out.
Okay, thank you.
Discussion.
I guess, where's the funding for this coming from? Is it
Fund balance.
fund balance? Okay.
Doesn't seem very optional.
Well, that's certainly a discussion point. Sure.
Is there a particular reason it would be fund balance, not CNR? Is it just because it's fixing a thing versus a new, I don't know, capital item?
Nope, certainly can ask the question. As we know, Ms. DeVoe is not able to join us tonight.
Okay, but that was intentional.
But
Not
I was gonna bring this up after, because it's not really, that's a question for us as opposed to keeping these guys here, but, yeah, I have the same question. I mean, why are we appropriating more money when we could take it out of CNR? I'm just not clear,
We can move, I mean, Tony?
You have 207,000 plus in CNR.
That's fine. I didn't have an issue with it. It was just more a point of clarity as to, what, I think if Sharon,
That's why I
intentionally
asked.
No, but I
listed
mean,
it as for
yeah,
general fund, so.
I'm with you, Matt. We've already appropriated a substantial amount of money to CNR. I'm sure there's more things coming, because there's something new every month. But I don't know why we would start appropriating additional monies when we already have money available for capital projects, and this is clearly a capital project.
Well,
I believe that was her recommendation, correct?
Yeah, I certainly don't want to put words in her mouth. It's certainly not my area of expertise, but it was my understanding that, there's another item that's potentially on tonight's agenda, excuse me, and so she was being cognizant of that and going with, again, don't want to put words in her mouth. Perhaps I misinterpreted, but it was my understanding that with two things on tonight's agenda, that was the thought. Because I think if you take this, then there's not.
When you look at the other one, you're gonna probably have to transfer if you do both out of CNR.
well, just remind me again, is to put money into CNR, can we transfer from fund balance into CNR?
Yes.
So it's either we take it out of fund balance or we put it into CNR and then take it out of CNR.
Correct.
Does it do us any good? Is there any bonus to moving it from fund balance into CNR first? Like, do we get anything out of it?
No.
Okay. I'm just trying to make sure, I'm just trying to see what the pros and cons, if you guys wanna
No,
follow it
but
through.
the difference,
Sure.
just to be clear, is we have a town budget of, I don't even remember what the total number is now, 60-something, 60, there you go, exactly. So the real question is, okay, assuming we do the track, which, we haven't crossed that bridge yet, but assuming that we do, and this project, those two together will exceed what we currently have set aside in the CNR budget. So once we cross that number, that means, we're gonna start down the road where we appropriate more money than we have, which means we are exceeding our current appropriations, including exceeding our current budget. And from this point forward, the next thing that comes down the road, which will be, God knows what, it'll be something tomorrow, each one of those is gonna require a new appropriation. And there is at some point, a provision in the charter that requires us to go back to the town people to get an additional appropriation agreement. I don't know where we're probably not very close to that right now. I don't know what else is on the agenda for the next 10 months. But we just need to be aware of the fact that taking something out of CNR means we've already appropriated it. Taking something from the fund balance means we're starting to appropriate more money. So that's really the distinction.
To move this, I would recommend you do CNR, and then you can debate if you get to the next item.
Okay, so I will toss out there then to make an amendment to the motion to appropriate the $44,548 out of general fund balance into the capital non-recurring account, and then appropriate that same amount for this project. Did I word that appropriately?
It depends on what you intend to do. That's not what Tony suggested.
I'm sorry, what did you intend, Tony?
I just suggested that you take it right out of CNR right now.
Oh, and just don't move money yet.
You can debate it later on if you move in a positive manner.
Fine. So then I will withdraw the amendment that I just put out there, and I will change it to, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I would move that we take the amount of this appropriation right from the CNR budget rather than from the fund balance.
Is there a second to that amendment?
Second.
Discussion on the amendment. Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment signify by raising your hand. Opposed? Okay. So the motion is back on the table to appropriate the amount out of capital non-recurring account rather than general fund balance. Back to discussion about that motion now. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by raising your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you both.
Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it, and I hope it gets remedied. Yeah. Oh, trust us too. Okay, back to the agenda. I believe I see Chair Kelleher has arrived, so why don't we go back to the Board of Ed liaison report. Good evening, how are you?
Everyone, Board of Finance members, Town Manager Salvatore, I'm a little shorter. I'm here in place of Catherine. She wasn't able to come tonight, and I apologize for my tardiness. I was over at the high school. To recap our last meeting, as you know, we did revisit our previous decision, which was when we agreed to allocate 50% of the current quote for the track, following the request made by our mayor after the additional 50% was not approved on the town side at your last meeting. So in our discussions at that meeting, Board of Ed members felt they fully supported the project, but felt it should go through the town in line with our CNR process. So knowing that this has to be done for next year, it made the decision a lot harder, because obviously we want this to be done. We have students here to speak out, coaches. I know a lot were over at National Honor Society, and in their, when they were speaking about their plans and everything that they do, a lot of them were on track and cross country. So it is really important. At our last meeting, we also celebrated our girls cross country team and their coaches at this meeting, and they were recognized for their outstanding accomplishments this season. So the team won 3 out of 4 invitationals, and at the Connecticut River Valley meet, senior Taylor Mooney set a new course record for Cromwell with an impressive time of 19 minutes and 37 seconds. And additionally, for the first time in school history, Cromwell ranked in the top 10 of the State of Connecticut Marathon Running Poll, which is a huge achievement considering the list is largely made up of Class LL, L, and M schools, while Cromwell competes in Class SS. So we're really proud of them. So obviously this is important to so many people, including the community. But just as background, I just wanted to also explain how we got to this point, and that's because of the surplus money that ended up being in the account this year for the Board of Education. And as you may have heard, a lot of that was due to miscalculations or misquotes from the state about what the reimbursement rate would be to us. So in reaction to that, we had to freeze the budget. Students went without things, didn't spend, and it changed several times. So it made budgeting very difficult. But the purpose of it, I think, is important, and I think it's important that schools have this amount a little bit left over at least, because there are so many large swings with, I mean, think about DATCO. That was just a couple of weeks ago. We didn't know where that would take us, but that cost us some money, both in legal fees unexpectedly, and then also for the backup plan. We did have to set aside some buses just in case they did strike, and it was down to the wire. We didn't know until the night before. Special education costs, as you know, we've told you before, someone moves into district that has $150,000 of outplacement needs,
You can't really predict that. So instead of going back to you all and asking for emergency funding, it's nice to have just a little bit to make, to have a little cushion when those things happen. This is actually the first year we've had this surplus, and we really do need to use it on our students so that we don't get instructionally behind either, because we're doing really well right now in test scores. And also with facilities. We've been making a lot of progress, and that's the other thing that gets cut. The first thing gets cut is regular education and facilities, and that's how we got so behind the ball in the first place with our buildings. Some factors that our Director of Finance reviewed at the last meeting that could cut into the addition, well, we had the 577, and then we allocated the 202,000 as 50% of the track. Some other issues that are going on that we're not accounted for yet is we had to hire 6 new paraprofessionals. The legal fees, like I mentioned, DACO transportation costs, dental insurance issues, and also expenses related to the transition program in Berlin. The district's also already approximately $7,000 in debt for the meal program, unfortunately, already. And that's contributing to a total deficit of about $170,000 total. So take that and add it to the 202, we're getting pretty close. So as far as what could contribute to our district needing to, like I just mentioned, utilize the remainder, it would be things like special education, anything that pops up unexpectedly. So I can't predict what'll happen if this is voted down this evening, but I am worried about the time we're spending because the quote was only good for another month. And then we have to start over with a quote, and then we might get delayed for next year, and it really does have to be fixed. I think our board showed a lot of trust offering to pay for half of the project out of our education budget with the anticipation and hope of the town providing the rest. It did pass through 2 boards already, so hoping we can rectify this and move forward because we've done a lot of good things together, and I think we're working well together, and it is, all one bucket of money. You don't want us coming back and asking for more because I'm not sure, but I'm thinking it might also affect the MBR because this is money that's already, from last year, but if we come back to you and ask for more, I don't know if that's added on to the next year's budget, but anyway, that's pretty much my report. Does anybody have any questions?
Can I come back to me in a second?
Okay.
All right.
No questions. We're still on kind of just, this is the
This is
liaison
just
report, right?
Yeah,
So,
this
yeah.
is questions about the Board of Ed in general.
No questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Are there any other considerations, like things that you're concerned about, and like things that you think are going to happen, like expenses or programs that maybe you might want to do or anything like that? Or,
I wouldn't
goals in
say
general?
new things that are outside of the budget that we're thinking of last minute, no. It's just more about special education and the instability in that. But also I have some statistics here from our Director of Human Resources about the FMLA. The new law has changed as of October 1st. So she gave me some information for each school year, going back to 2020. There were, in 2020, about 27 employees out on FMLA. Then the next year, 24. The following year, 28. Then 18, then 46, and now, as of October 6th, there were 21 employees out already this year, so we're expecting it to have a lot more sub costs and things. And sometimes also, if it's long-term subs, they cost more than regular subs, so that's something that could contribute.
When you guys look at that from a budgetary standpoint, when you're kicking it around in January, February, do you look at that average and try to build something in, or is this something that's kind of add on top of?
Well, we didn't know until early summer that this was happening, so
Yeah.
the budget for this year was already done.
Got it,
But,
okay.
yeah,
So for the current budget we're in, that wasn't really a
we
major.
weren't aware, right.
Got it.
So compared to last year, where are you with respect to where you are with your spending with respect to the budget? Like, are you for like a third of the way through the school year? Are you through a third of your expected expenses? Like, where are you? Is it looking good, bad, ugly?
Right now, things look good. We did have a report in our last meeting minutes, which should be out tomorrow, to show you. But when it shows, it's really confusing to see how they budget in the school. It's different than town budgeting. I'm told the encumbrances come later, so sometimes it looks like we have a certain amount at the beginning of the year, but that's because we haven't necessarily received all of the bills. Things change. these outplacement centers don't necessarily give us the exact costs until months later. So, I mean, it looks good now, but it won't stay that way.
Is it always so random? Like it's like you can't compare it like year over year or anything like that? It's just kind of,
You can, and I think it's pretty close to what it was last year. It's not unusual.
that
to
sounds
start
good.
out looking like we have extra money, and then really it's just for that reason.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, does anyone else have any other questions?
Yeah,
Thank you for
any
the-
update on the federal funding or the status of the federal funding potential?
It is supposedly still en route. I know we've received some of it, and I think it's according to plan. Knock on
Okay.
wood.
Okay, because those don't come through like our munis reports, I don't think, right? That goes straight
It-
to the, or does it?
Well, when we put the budget together, I believe that's a part of the
Part of the
state of
math.
Connecticut. Yeah, it's part of our revenue plan, I
Oh, it
believe.
is? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Federal goes through
Oh,
the state.
federal,
and
I'm
then-
sorry. Yeah, it goes through the state.
And then,
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so yeah, so we
Yeah.
do have the state, we do have
Yeah,
the state
it's like 6
line,
million
state
or
of
something.
Connecticut, yeah, so
Yeah.
that's both state and federal combined, okay.
It's, yeah, because at the end of the day, you guys receive it from the state.
right.
Okay, yeah, there it is.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So that's,
I gotcha.
that was where the concern comes in, is that we baked the cake thinking
Right.
we had all the ingredients and then, yeah, so. Okay, thank you. We appreciate the update, and it's great news about the track team, and, you know, listen, I've just gotten used to hearing just the students of this town they're always seem to be crushing it, so I'm not, it's always good to hear, but I'm not surprised anymore.
One
So,
of the champions.
yeah, that's right, that's right.
All right,
So,
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving into item G2 now. Can I have a motion for discussion and possible action on rescinding the failed vote for the appropriation of the high school track?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by the vice chair, second Mr. DeProto. So for the purposes of this discussion, this is to vote basically in order to then move on to the next item on the agenda, to basically dive back into discussion about providing the appropriation for the track. But obviously, in order to do that, we need to take action on our previous vote. So I will open it up to discussion strictly about the rescission, not yet diving into actually moving forward with the vote.
I mean, I'm happy to discuss it again. I mean, we've had a little bit more time to consider more information and things like that and ask questions. I think the presentation before was a little bit short on detail. I'd like to talk about it again.
Just want to talk about the parliamentary setup of what's going on here. I found out a couple of days ago that this is where we were headed. And, you know, I spent some time with Robert's Rules and then forgot to bring the book with me. But I do have a recollection of what's going on. And although I absolutely don't object to our doing what we're about to do, it is different from what we have said we would do in the past over my objections. So we're changing our history of how we've treated these things, and let me explain what I think we're doing now, what we have done in the past. In order for us to do a rescission, that means that we are putting ourselves in a position where we are saying that we are in a new session, using that word exactly from Roberts, this month, as opposed to last month's session. And Roberts is very clear that the word session and the word meeting are not identical. So the word session can mean a variety of things depending on what sort of body you are. It might mean a year, it might mean a term, for example, it might mean a fiscal year for us. It could, for example, the one that I'm most familiar with, the state legislature has a constitutionally set aside session dates of, you know, the first Tuesday in January until the first Wednesday in, you know, a fixed date in the Constitution, that's one session. So what we're saying here is, okay, you can rescind the action in a previous session, and we will, as a matter of rule in this body, decide that each meeting is a separate session. We're not gonna say each year is a separate session, or each fiscal year is a separate session, or each calendar year is a separate session. We're gonna say each meeting is a separate session. The context in which the town manager and I have disagreed about this in the past was, for example, it is not unusual for us to approve things in at one point during the year that do not subsequently happen or don't happen within a short period of time. And on occasion, we've been in the situation where we will have, let's say, picking a random number, we will have approved $800,000 for various capital non-recurring items. And in the middle of the year, we'll suddenly find that we have a new item for $200,000 that popped up from nowhere. And I have suggested, well, one of the things we could do is go back and undo some of the authorizations we have done in the past. We have never come to a vote on this board, to the best of my knowledge, on whether that's appropriate or not. I know, again, the town manager and I have disagreed on whether it's appropriate or not. What we're saying here very clearly is, yes, we as a board agree that we can undo things we have done at previous meetings in order to even out the budget as the year goes on. That seems like a completely rational thing to do, and I am in favor of it. But I simply wanted to highlight the fact that this has been an item of some dispute in the past. And I just want to make it clear that we're setting a precedent here, which I agree with, but I just wanted to set that out.
No, I appreciate it. The one, not to try to throw another bit into it, but if I recall right, when we went through our budget process this past year, and Matt, I'm looking towards you, wasn't there something that we did and then the same meeting?
Light switches.
Yeah.
Right.
We had approved some CNR items.
Does that
and
ring
then
a
the next
does that ring
day-
a-
But
So,
we said, oh, whoever voted for it had to decide to say
In-
they
Right.
bring up an amendment to, or another motion to,
Right.
to,
In that case,
reconsider
that
it,
was
yeah.
a reconsideration
yeah.
as opposed to a rescission
okay,
at the same meeting,
okay.
which is, again, using your Robert's rules, it's a different thing.
Well, the only reason I bring it up is that you mentioned about what's a quote-unquote a session, right? If we're gonna deem each month that we meet a different session,
Which I think we're doing.
right, if we don't, are we then technically saying that all meetings in the course of a year are one meeting?
Well, if we don't do that, we would still be in the limbo of not having done anything. So
Right, but I'm just saying, at
No.
least in that particular same setting, we've done that before.
I think it's very clear that if you are reconsidering something at the same meeting,
Right,
that is clearly a reconsideration and not a rescission.
right.
So
Oh,
that's, I don't think that's,
I'm just trying to parse between, because as you said, there's no formal definition of a meeting and a session. Because if we're not deeming this a different session, right, I guess in my head, and maybe I'm reading this wrong, if we're not gonna deem this all different sessions, then do we deem it all one meeting?
no.
Because
They're
it,
clearly different meetings.
okay,
Because.
So-
Again, we have to meet it, we have to, by state law.
Right.
We need to notice each separate meeting.
Meeting,
separate
right.
meeting. The question is, under Roberts, which again governs us, there is this, there are things you can do at the same meeting and not, and there are things you can do at the same session or not. And those two words, in some bodies, will be exactly the same thing. In others, you will have a very fixed meeting, and in many bodies, including our own, the distinction between the two words is up to the bodies, and we're making that distinction today.
gotcha, okay. All right, I at least want it to be out there that at least within, us meeting, at least within the same meeting, we have gone back and forth with it. This is, going back to the previous month. But yes, I
Which is-
hear and see your point.
Which is the distinction between a reconsideration, which we have done many times before.
Okay.
And a rescission, which I don't believe we have ever done before.
Further discussion on the rescission.
I mean, if need be, we could just make a new motion, right?
Say it again?
About the track. If instead of doing rescission, we can just make a new motion and,
Well, the question, once again, we're in the weeds of parliamentary procedure.
yeah. Well, I was just saying, if
Having
we wanted
said,
to,
if you read the parliamentary procedure, it is inappropriate without reconsideration to come back to another point at the same session. So if we haven't decided, if we leave the question open as to whether this is a different session or not, it leaves the validity of any future vote up in the air. So it's probably worthwhile for us to make a clear statement that we believe this to be a new session. Because otherwise it would be, I think, challengeable whether we've acted appropriately.
or the motion does not have to be the same. It's not going to be the same this time, word for word, I would think. But
think
I
it's gonna
don't want to
be-
challenge
I think
on
it's
that.
gonna be substantively the same.
Correct.
That's what I was gonna say is, then we start getting in the weeds of technicalities of
Right.
what's substantive, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we change the number from 202 to 203, is that substantive? I don't know, and I'm not a.
Well, and
from
I'm,
different-
listen,
and
I'm
coming
gonna
from
put this out there
different
too.
funds.
This is not my bailiwick, and I'm just trying
Yeah.
to make sure I'm following what I've been given, so.
I'm guessing I'm the only
Go
one
ahead, Tony.
here who is a nationally published author on the subject of parliamentary
No, I'm not
procedure.
questioning you. I'm just,
Maybe I'm wrong, maybe
Yeah.
there's others out there. But
So Ed, do we need to declare we're in a separate session then, you're saying?
I believe we're doing that by adopting this.
Okay, and the minutes should reflect we're stating we're in separate sessions.
I think that's the net result of adopting this.
Okay.
Go ahead, Tony.
Again, I'm in favor of doing it.
No, I get it, but like I said, I'm all in favor of preventing future headaches.
For the most part, I agree 100% with Mr. Mealy, but meeting versus session. I know, you can mark it down. First of all, I researched Robert's rules also, and then I went to the town attorney and felt that your meetings are individual meetings.
Okay, so this went past the town attorney.
I did talk to the town
Got
attorney.
it. Okay.
And what I proposed to you in suggesting how you form the agenda is the manner in which she and I discussed and she instructed that you do have to rescind the previous vote first.
Got it.
And then if a motion is made to take the matter back up again, if so desired. I mean, I guess you could say that you want to make how many sessions from what date to what date, but each individual has been called to meeting as far as the Board of Finance. And the way I read Robert's rules, if it was done that night, it could have been addressed by a vote from somebody that was on the negative side. But since it wasn't done that night, you need a motion to rescind the previous action.
And 4 to rescind it. 4 out of the 6 of us
4 out of 6 it has to be positive
to rescind.
to rescind it.
Yep.
And then you can move into the additional items.
Discussion. Further discussion on rescinding the motion.
Just in terms of a vote for rescinding, I guess someone that wasn't seated last meeting.
You're in the game.
Okay,
You're seated, you're here, you have full.
okay.
Plus, he was here last month during all this, so
But
he
not
has a
seated.
clear understanding.
Yeah, no, definitely have an understanding, just wanted to make sure.
Myself included.
Right, and Matt wasn't here either, so as long as we're good.
Well, Matt you have full, I mean, Matt can rescind as well.
It doesn't matter either way.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to,
If you knew nothing about it and just fell it out of the sky, you could still vote.
I hope that's
Not
actually
that
the
we-
wording
not
in
that-
Robert's rules.
Not that we encourage that.
That would be
but-
fantastic.
yeah.
Okay, further discussion on rescinding. Seeing none, all those in favor signify, nope, we're gonna raise our hands here. Signify by raising your hand. Okay, motion carries. On to item H1. Can I have a motion discussion for possible action to approve the original appropriation from September 25th, 2025 meeting in the amount of $201,570 within the CNR fund to remove and resurface the track at Cromwell High School?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Maley, second by
I
Mr.
do have a
Crowe.
question, though. We don't have enough currently.
We do
so we
not,
have to-
so I'm assuming we're gonna have to amend it by some dollar amount. and I'm-
38,371.
And I was about to say, someone already did the math for me, so that's why I keep you guys around. And we will have to make that, that amendment. Do people want, do we want to? Because there's a couple directions we can go here. If we're gonna be moving money from one to the next, because, correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't want to go off on a tangent, but
If you use general fund, you have 163,199 remaining after we took out the previous action. So you're 38,371 short in CNR.
my question though is, and I think I'm going back to when we did like one of the buses or something, is if we so chose, we can move more than what this amount would be from general fund balance into the CNR account in order to provide more funds into there. Am I off base with that?
Correct, no,
No, you're
correct.
correct.
Okay,
We could, I mean, just as a general rule, we
Yeah.
can put as much in there as we want
that's,
at any point.
okay. So,
But, and just,
I'm gonna leave the motion as it is for right now,
I think a separate motion would be great.
and let's get into the discussion around the track now. So,
Can I just be recognized?
Tony,
first?
please, why don't you kick us off?
So, I understand last month what occurred, and I understand the possibility that the reason was sending a message that they should use their entire fund balance. However, the council, they made an offer to the council. The council countered with a 50% because they didn't come back with 50%. They were about 50,000 shy of that mark. In my opinion, I certainly understand what was being said last month, but I just want to say my own personal opinion is this is the wrong item to be taking such action, and I'll cut it short by saying I would urge you to approve the request of the town council for the remaining 50% at $201,570. The track's in dire shape. It needs to be fixed. I'd hate to see it get bogged down and not fixed. And as I said last month, the sooner, the better that we're aware that we can move forward, then we can get a date for early spring, hopefully, and have it ready for the next season. So that's all I have to say unless someone has a question.
No, stay right there, Tony, because I want to go through just a handful of things just to make sure we're all on the same page with basically how we got here, okay? So, let's go back in time a little bit. Obviously, this has been a project that the town has kicked around, and Steve, I think you back me up on this. This has been kicked around in long-range capital for
4 years, it feels, 3-4 years.
okay? So, it's been on the radar screen. Back when we were taking up projects for the fiscal year '26 budget process, I believe this was one of the items that was identified,
Correct.
okay? With the agreement that we have come into with the Board of Ed, I believe that this would have been on the list from their request items that would have gone through our budget process back in April. However, the decision was made to take this project and try to get it done through the state. Do I have that right so far?
That's correct.
Okay. We found out that the state was not going to be able to provide the funding for this basically after our budget referendum. Is that correct? We had the referendum in May, after we set the budget.
After our budget was approved and after the referendum on the middle school.
Okay. in that time being, sometime in June, and Chair Kelleher, I don't know if you might have
Let me back up. The middle school was a couple of years ago, so this was never brought up to add to the middle school bonding.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Okay.
No.
All right, so-
That's not where I'm going with
So
this.
this came up after the budget was approved because everyone was pretty much desirous of attempting to get state bonding funding to repair the track.
To get this done.
And we-
And again, for the public and for everyone to know, us going to the state, asking for certain projects, that is a usual yearly process, right? We identify things, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the new bathroom that's actually over near the track, I believe that was done through the state. Am I correct with that?
This year here, the bathroom and the softball Little League lights at
Yeah.
Watchers Park.
That was the year before?
No, that was last year.
I'm sorry, let me back up. When I'm talking the current year was when the state said no to the track. The year before was when they approved those two projects.
Now let me think here.
Because the lights got done in the previous fiscal year.
Okay, correct. We got nothing this year.
That's,
For fiscal year
Were done in
26,
waves. I think they did the boys'
for
field.
fiscal year 26, we received nothing.
okay.
25, we got the lights in the bathroom, and 24, we got sidewalks in Pearson Park.
And Pearson, okay. Then where this went is sometime towards the end of the fiscal year was when we found out that there was going to be funds that were going to come through from the state that ended up into that account. Maybe Chair Kelleher, maybe you want to come on
Yeah,
up and,
they-
because again, all I'm trying to do is make sure that I'm laying this
Funds
thing
went
out.
directly to them, and it was under their control.
Right, and that was found out that came through over the summer, or early summer, late spring, any idea?
Are you talking about the reimbursement rates that we were waiting on all year?
So where I'm trying to get at, right, is I'm trying to find the timeline where all of these different pieces came together, where we took this project, went to the state said no. Had we not gone to the state, we actually might have taken it up as part of the full CNR project, and quite frankly, allocated $400-something thousand through our normal process. Now, again, I'm not saying we would have, it's revisionist history, I have no idea. But after the state said no, then we come to find out that these funds were gonna be made available and ended up as I don't know if surplus is the right word, but it ended up in there. You guys found that out, that was coming through sometime in June. Is that appropriate? July?
This is the.
Right.
Right,
Okay. Right, but you guys weren't anticipating a surplus.
no.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at, is it came through later on. So once we found out the state said no, this surplus then hit. Then it came time to, okay, we need to get the track done. The rubber's gotta meet the road. I don't know if that's a pun or not. It came time to, okay, how are we gonna do this? Did you guys approach the council and said, we're good for 150 of it? Did they originally ask you for 150 and then said bump it to 200? Any idea how the 150 started? Was that an offer up by the Board of Ed?
Well, the initial request was for the 50%, and speaking with the mayor and everything, so that's what we brought to the board, and the board said that's too much, we'll put in 150,
Okay, so the original idea was to split it.
yes.
Then you negotiated with the town council, and in good faith said, okay, if they're pushing us to get to 200, we're gonna go ahead and get to the 200.
The original number officially that came over from BOE was 150.
150,
Then
right.
there was discussion at the council meeting, and the council was in favor of 50%. Then it went back to their court to be discussed again by BOE, and BOE agreed to the 50%.
Okay. So, had the surplus not come through, I don't know what to call it, because I don't know what to label it, I don't know. Whatever, okay? The offer and the ability to be able to do half is a function of being able to receive those funds that were unexpected, that came in after the state said no.
Correct,
Do I have all that correct?
yes.
Okay. So negotiated with the town council to get to half, that's when it then got here, and that's last month's vote. Do I have this time, everybody kind of got, where am I off?
I mean, I agree. The only thing I recall in the April budget meetings, having an idea of where they were with their budget, and
Yeah.
I know it was mentioned that, if any surplus we're gonna hold against them or use against them. We didn't. We had an assumption that they were gonna finish the fiscal year, and we did fund 800,000 CNR.
Right, but what was
during
their
during the
ask?
budget?
What was their ask of the CNO? Was the ask over $1 million?
Yeah, I think it was 1.1.
1.1, and we funded 800?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay,
but everything else, yeah.
yeah. So, I'm gonna ask this question. I don't know what the answer is, and I don't know if I'm opening up a whole can here, but from the Board of Finance and our role in town, and what it is that we're here to kind of function and do. I know the process is, we have a project, the town council takes it up, they know it's worth 50 grand, whatever the project's worth, and then it comes to us and we gotta approve and say, okay, take it out of this fund or pay for it this way or whatever. Have we gone through something similar like this before, where there's a negotiation between the council and the BOE or something like this, and then, because I just don't know, I'm trying to figure out how this whole thing got put together, where if we as a body are here to figure out what we can afford, what the expenses are and everything else, am I missing the boat? Like, to negotiate with the town council, I'm just trying to figure out, is that the normal course, and then they decide, and then we?
We're here, the town is here before you.
Yeah.
Because the town council did have some negotiations with the BOE, but we're here because we're asking for our 50% in the manner in which is appropriate through the charter, to be funded, and now that's before you.
Basically where I'm going, I don't want to turn this to a whole thing, but what I want to make sure of is that if negotiations are going on and they're in good faith, that if there is some sort of agreement that is made, but then it's got to kick into another body, I don't know what expectation is supposed to be set when that negotiation then is going on.
I'll cut to the chase. Some may like it, but you can deny it.
Yep.
And what you did, and that stands.
Yep, okay. No, I just want to make sure I'm following.
Well within the authority of the Board of Finance to deny the request of the council.
Yep, okay. Just like we denied 200-something grand worth of stuff back in April.
Well, in the CNR.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
John, if I could.
Yeah.
I think the thing that you're wondering, and this is an excellent question, is this is a project which is a Board of Education project on Board of Education property.
Well, no, we
I-
haven't decided that yet.
Well, we haven't?
Because there are CNR funds and we have policies.
No, but I'm saying that okay, well, that's a good question, so maybe we'll come back to that. But I guess my question was, I'm not sure whether the town council has an opinion at all. Because it's a project that the Board of Education feels is important and generally seems to be supported by, not everyone on this board, obviously, but by a lot of people. And one would think, the board of, I keep calling it the Board of Selectmen, the town council offers up a certain amount of, quote, our money, but they have no responsibility for deciding whether to spend that money or not. That decision lies with this board. So it's interesting that they chose to negotiate with the Board of Education, and neither the Board of Education or the town council felt that this board was actually the one they should be negotiating with, rather than each other.
I'm strictly asking this question because we're in this now for
Right.
this particular project. What I don't want to see happen is scenarios like this come forward again, and there's confusion, or there is a thought process, well, if I go this route, this is what I can believe or trust or not, but I also got to get this party involved before, like, all I'm trying to get at is how do we make sure that if we've got something of this size, this scope, again, I know this is going to be rare, okay? Because, Mr. Maley, to your point, I think one of the public speakers mentioned it earlier, you know, the track is used by the public, right? I mean, the track is used by the public more than I think by the students. So it provides a service to the town, to the community, and how you measure that or how you want to look at that, that's for each of you to decide. But it's, I guess I'm just looking, I guess it would just be nicer if there was just some sort of clear line of, okay, you know, if I enter into negotiation with the town, and this is what I'm doing in good faith, that somehow, whether it's all the parties got to be involved, and now we just know that going forward, you know, from a Board of Ed standpoint, or whoever other board maybe come before that, you know, it's a two-step process. You can think you've got something going here, but we've got to, you know, get forth, and if that's the case, that's fine. But what I just don't want to see is there being confusion or anger going forward of being felt that I did this in good faith, and now it didn't go right. So,
I think everybody understands that you have the right to refuse.
and that's fine. I just want to make sure that that's out there now.
I would just like to say, school property, town property, it's all town property, under the control of the Board of Ed. However, acquiesced it back to the town, certain aspects of it, because we maintain the majority of it. We did the project on the bathrooms. We're spending about $200,000 we spent so far on the whiz fields, trying to come up with a solution. So this is nothing new, as far as
Well,
that goes.
I mean, if we really want to go big picture, I don't think the Board of Ed is going to be getting a $2.48 million bill for the next 30 years for a little building that we just, you know, took care of either.
Yeah, but I'm talking
So,
about the property, as far as the fields go, pretty much, and if you read the charter, under the Director of Public Works with council approval, we have the right, under the direction of the Public Works Director, with the consensus, don't hold me to it, either the superintendent or the BOE. This is how all these arrangements have been made, where we do the irrigation now for them. We mow 90% of their lawns, the grass. We're maintaining the majority of their outsides as it stands right now. Ball fields are done by us. Soccer fields are done by us.
and it's all, it can be school use, right? The high school baseball field, high school softball field. I mean, there are town usages, like, and the track is just like any other one of those
That's the way I
items.
that's the way I would look at it.
And with those other projects,
If it went 100% out of CNR, then there's no question.
yeah,
They have to follow our policies.
okay. So in
No different than when we did the kitchen.
right, and in the kitchen, the town foot the bill 100%.
The town fit the bill on the kitchen 100%, and they followed our purchasing policies and everything.
So the previous history with these type of projects, that is for student use, Board of Ed use, but also has a public, you know, component to it, or Little League or whatever, is the Board of Ed uses it, the students use it, but the town has taken care of it. Is that an appropriate statement?
For the most part, that's a correct statement.
Actually, I want to object to that.
Okay,
Because, and this is, you know, I kind of hate this because it becomes a we, they, and, you know, we're doing this and they're doing that.
Yep.
We're all the town.
Yep.
So there's no distinction
oh,
between.
just to be clear, I don't disagree.
Yeah, so, and although this has come here, again, the reason that this seems odd to all of us is not the interaction between the Board of Education and this board, it's the involvement of the town council. If, under a normal situation, if the Board of Education has a capital request for a track, for a kitchen, for a new classroom, for anything, they come to us, we make a decision. We can afford it, we can't. If they happen to have a surplus, we can go to them and say, hey, you've got a surplus, could you give us 100,000 from that, and we'll throw 100,000 in, and that's how we'll pay for it. We will appropriate that, as we do, and we'll make a decision between the two boards how we're going to pay for it. Again, the thing that makes this odd is that the town council got involved at all. I don't know why they're involved in this.
So-
I think it all
but
stemmed
I
from-
don't-
From the Gordian meeting and the tri-board meeting where we
Yeah.
were talking about all of this, so, and I think it came from that.
Right, but there's a distinction between what people happen to be interested in their private lives or public lives, and what they have legal responsibility to do. And my point is, I don't believe that the town council has any legal responsibility, even though they may think it's a really good thing or a really bad thing. I don't think it's any of their legal concern, one way, whether this project gets done or not. It is wonderful to hear, again, because we are all the town. So it is wonderful to hear that in Cromwell, we are getting more and more cooperation between the portion of the town that we call the town, meaning the structure of the government that is not the Board of Education, and the Board of Education, which is also part of the town, are cooperating well enough so that we are getting things done in the most efficient manner by using town resources when it's appropriate, so-called, and Board of Education resources when it's appropriate, so-called. But what I'm trying to get across is there's nothing unusual about this, other than the oddity of a deal being made by a board that really has no role in that. So that's the thing that makes this seem weird.
Let me do one other.
If I may, I have to agree with him to move this along. The Board of Ed could have said, we're gonna put up 200,000 plus out of our surplus, and can we have the rest out of CNR, and you could have taken action on it.
Right.
The only other thing I'm gonna.
There was discussion with the council, they got council support, and, then it would have been, there still would have been parameters that would have had to been addressed. Could have been done that way, the way I read the charter, yes.
And I always thought, I mean, if we needed to go back for another appropriation, yes, we go right to you, but I thought for a project like this, I did think we needed town collaboration, and I did think it had to pass through them first.
Hold on. Let me back up just real quick,
I
okay?
believe CNR, though, there is a provision.
Hold on. Let's go back and let's pretend it's March, okay? The town council puts forth, along with your office, Tony, puts forth a budget, right? You put forth a budget, and in that budget are CNR projects.
Yeah, so that's why
Well, I don't believe that's true anymore, because,
No, this
again,
section of
we
the
don't
chart.
get one bill, we don't get one budget, we get, as it happens, three, but we get two budgets from the town manager and one budget from the Board of Education. And since this last year, I believe, we also get two CNR budgets, one from,
No, you get one.
we get
It's,
one?
the town makes it as one CNR listing.
There is a section in the charter on it, and I think we've been following it, and I think in this case
We
here,
just
they
changed this
followed.
last year.
No, so what happens is, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
the Board of Ed puts together their operating budget. To
Right.
your point, Mr. Maley,
Yeah.
town council's out in that comes right to us.
Right,
They then put together a listing of CNR projects that they want to see done, the
Right.
blinds and ECS and the lights and whatever,
They do come to me.
and it becomes part of all the CNR projects. And what my question was going to be is if the town council puts up 10, because I think we talked about this, they have 10 projects, 6 of them are BOE, 4 of them are town, right? But here's where coming back to your point, is if the town council decides to boot 2 of them, right? They don't want to do 2 of the CNR projects,
And they don't
whatever.
get to you, I don't think.
But do we as a board
we do,
have that right to bring it back?
yes.
Can we, look into this after this vote?
That's fine.
I'll be happy to get you an answer.
That's fine. I just want to make sure, what I wanted to put out there,
I understand what Mr. Maley's saying, and I understand what you're asking.
great.
And I
I have
but
talked too much. Mr. Fidelli, go ahead.
Questions on
The track.
the track? Like,
All right, we're gonna oddly, we're gonna go back to the track.
No questions on parliamentary procedure.
Yeah, no, or CNR.
darn. I had a
Back
whole
to the track.
page of parliament. Okay, so, been waiting a month to say this. So, I'm all for the track. I'm a former, 3-time track champion at Eastern Connecticut State University, 2-time indoor track champion. The track has played, a pivotal role not only in my life, but now in my kids' life as, high school athletes and middle school athletes. And as, you know, just as a community member itself, my wife and I still actively use the track. I think it's absolutely necessary as a community to have a centerpiece like that. And it's one of the only things you can make out from an airplane, ironically. So you could always tell where you are when you're flying over or into Bradley. I wanna see the track done right. And I think, so there's two kinds of things that I want to make sure happen. So, given what's kind of come up in the past week about the bleachers and how they were done incorrectly, I want to make sure that, obviously you can't turn a track 90 degrees and put it in incorrectly, but is there a way that we could get some town oversight if we're putting in town money? Can it be a don't need co-sign-offs, but do we have the technical knowledge within the town employee base to help oversee the project to make sure that it's done right? That's my first comment. Second comment is there is a concern that when we peel up that rubber, we don't know what's underneath there. And there's a potential bigger cost, you know, as to if we have to do some more remediation. Can we, maybe with the Board of Ed or whatever group, think of what's our next steps? Can we think 3 steps ahead? If there is a problem, who's gonna fund that? Does that become a 50% split because we split this 50%?
according to the research that was done, the base is in good shape.
Yeah, we've heard that before, right? Like,
We also had a non-leaky library.
right. You know, I mean,
I can only go by the report I read on it, and the base is supposed to be in good shape.
I understand. I just wanna, can we think of a plan, or backup plan, if something were to happen, how are we going to fund this? Because they're gonna rip this up in June, July, hopefully, of this summer. If they find there's a problem, we're gonna need to move on it immediately, because probably can't even wait till the next Board of Finance meeting to even address that. They're gonna need to move quick, and we're not gonna be able to take time and wait for these meetings to happen, our meetings, proceedings to happen, to figure out what to do. So I'm just trying to be cautious and make sure we do this right.
Depends on what's wrong, how much it costs, and
Exactly, we don't know. So like,
And
there would have
just-
to be, meetings between, the Board of Ed would have to have a meeting. If it stayed 50-50, they'd have to have a meeting, and again, the council would have to make application to the Board of Finance for any percentage. So there's nothing stopping emergency meetings within
Right.
24 hours.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
If we needed to meet as a board, we've done it in the past, we put out a special meeting, depending upon the situation, there's so many time length notice we can make.
right.
Special meeting is a week,
But
something
just to be
emergencies,
clear-
24 hours.
Just to be clear, the agreement was 50% of the current quote, so we would have to talk again if something else happened.
Yeah,
Right.
but whatever the regulations are, listen, we're here to serve the town.
Oh,
So,
yeah, no, I totally get that.
I-
I'm just concerned
I
about
get it.
if we rip it up in
We're
the
gonna think
summer.
positive, though.
If there's something
that's-
wrong, we only have 2
unfortunately,
months to fix it.
Your,
right?
your concern can go along with anything
There's
we
a
do.
lot of things, right. but
Anything we do.
when
You
you're-
know,
you know,
they're
you
they're
only
gonna go
gotta-
look in the library, they're gonna find asbestos somehow, even it was built 5 years ago.
Right, but
So-
you could close the library and it's not gonna impact
I
stuff.
got it.
The track, if the contractor only has the summertime to do that.
Yep.
We're very limited and we won't have time to make, to really, we'll have to debate it, but we're not gonna be able to kick stuff around. That's my concern.
We
So,
will use the information as best we have. What I don't wanna see though is we can't tie up resources on possible and contingents when we've got other pressing needs too. But your concern is
Right.
valid and heard, and
That's-
if it comes to it, I joke about that big sale we gotta have, so.
I think was it though, just because it was on that point, was it discussed either in, I think it was one of the town council meetings, someone said, should there be a need to, relay asphalt under it? I thought a number was
There
thrown
was.
out there.
There was, and it's a big number.
Okay.
Oh,
So-
it's 7 figures.
Yeah,
No, I thought I heard a number like 170,000.
it was like 200,000, yeah, potentially.
Oh, I had a 2 million, I don't know if that's to re-rip the whole.
I think way back when they said,
Oh,
oh, we're
way
gonna do
back,
this,
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So just for perspective.
Yeah, I
I
got
mean,
you.
we're
Yeah,
not talking 7 figures.
No,
Oh,
not
sorry.
seven figures, but
No, not trivial, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was kicking around years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted.
thank you.
Jamie, you're good?
That's all I had.
Mr. Mealy?
For special ed or whatever else we might need, well, that would get added right into the MBR and force us to spend an additional $200,000
You
every
certain
year.
Is there specificity around that's how it works? Because if you look at the letter, what was the budgeted amount? The
Right.
budget amount was set in April. I don't
Right,
know, I
but
think
we
it's
s- but we
modified
kind-
or.
But I believe the statute, you know, if you do subsequent budget amounts, you change the budget. You know, they continue to be budgeted amounts, even though, you know, it doesn't.
Then why
it-
wouldn't the
it
track
doesn't, for
affect that?
example, give you the opportunity to say, oh, we're gonna pretend it only costs $10 million to run the Cromwell schools and do a referendum in May, and then in July say, oh, well, we really needed another 30 million, but we're not gonna consider that as
But that's
as part
what
of
we're
the base.
doing.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
No,
We're
we're
adding
not.
to their budget by adding money into their budget.
Once again, let me say this again.
We're not adding
The
it to the
money
budget.
is coming from, it doesn't matter what I think or you think, it matters what the State Department of Education thinks. And they make a calculation of what expenditures each town has made on education each year to set forward is it MBR or MER? We keep changing the name of it, a minimum expenditure. And you're stuck with that minimum expenditure for the following year and the year after that and the year after that. And you can certainly say, well, in theory, it's the same thing whichever way you do it, but in law, it's not. So, you know, it would cost us more money to do it that way. Whether we think that's a good thing or not, it's simply true. So,
I get
just
your point,
adding
Ed.
it.
I'm saying that's why we moved to doing the CNR funds for the projects over $12,000. It doesn't add to the MBR.
you in the last meeting suggested that if they used this money for the project, then if they needed more money later for something else, they should come back to us. Well, that later money that they come back to us for will get added on to the MBR, if that happens.
So
That's my point.
I know we're talking MBR.
This is part of the operation of the school,
Exactly.
The 200,000 plus.
but it doesn't add to the MBR. That's what I'm saying.
Considered part of their MBR,
Not in this case,
not in this request.
but if we did it the way that Mr. DeProto suggested,
It does.
it would, yes, exactly.
I don't think that makes sense to me, but
And so Ed, I know the
the
MBR
track's part of the operation of the school.
But the
That's,
track, it would be a one-time cost for this year. It's not like
Uh-huh.
that's every year that we would have to do that.
okay, but
So you're-
some random expense that came down the road may not,
The
I just,
distinction to be, I don't mean to suggest that's not right, but the distinction is not what it's being spent on in this particular case. The distinction is where the money came from. And in the case where we are now, some of this money, not all of it, but some of this money is coming from a previous year surplus, which is already in the possession of the Board of Education. If they spent that money on this, you're right, it would have no effect on the MBR. However, if we get to the second step, which you suggested we might get to, and it's certainly possible we might get to, whereas later in the year, they need more money for something else, well, that money would come out of this year's budget and this year's taxes, and that would make it subject to the MBR. That's all I'm saying. And that's a bad idea.
And then the last piece is our allocation of 200,000 from the town for this is additionally not an operational item.
It's not an operational.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead, Steve, I know you were trying to jump in.
It's just that, I mean, the MBR, you're more expert than me, right? But that's a low number. That's like a low threshold. They just want you to minimally spend over a certain amount.
No, it's, the MBR is how much you spent last year.
I know that, but I
So
mean,
it puts you at a bottom number, which you have to increase every year. We usually do, but there have been, no, but I'll be honest with you, there have been situations in government, and I don't honestly know whether in Cromwell it has happened or not happened, but there are certain situations where, for some reason, a particular item gets moved. You know, for example, the state might decide we're doing a grant to cover XYZ expense. You would take that, you might end up taking that number out of the budgetary number, which would otherwise reduce our local expenditure, but you're stuck by the MBR because you can't reduce it to match that additional reduction in your expenses. So you're right, on a normal year, you're always going up, but you're not going up every year. And as you go up for one-time things, well, you're sticking those, again, what we're trying to avoid doing is putting in the base these one-time things, which we essentially would be doing if we transferred this expense to a later expense down the line. That's what I'm saying is this is the best way to handle this, is to take it out of this one-time money hopefully one-time money, that the Board of Education got at the end of last year's close of business. That's a better way to deal with it because you don't have to worry about any of these accounting issues, in addition to the fact that, I'm not going to call it found money, but it's money that you didn't expect to have.
yeah, just for the record, I think the MBR thing is overblown in the conversation. That's all, just my opinion. So, hey, Tony, with something like this, a project this size, should there be, I know we talked about it a little bit, but should there be a contingency in here? Only because of, I don't think it's gonna be completely has to be re-pulled up, but if they just need to patch the thing or
I'm just
something.
going by the numbers that were given, and to go back to the Board of Ed, she probably.
Who should pay for it now? I'm just saying, should there be contingency in here?
Only because of this thing, but if they pull part of the track and there's like a part that just needs to be fixed, it needs to be fixed for
I hope it's not to
$1,000.
the penny, let's put it that way. I hope it's not to the penny.
You think there's already a cushion in here?
I would hope there's a contingency built in.
Okay, all right. And then, again, maybe just given the size of this and the town, maybe have more familiarity with a project like this, like, is the town going to run this effort then, or not? Or, just now, let's just think about it for a second, or do we have to add like $1 to it, so it's more town money? So I'm not sure what I'm just asking.
No, what we'll do is, we'll definitely work with their facility, but we'll take the lead. That was an expression by the council also.
Good, thank you.
I don't know if the chair's okay with that, but that's been what has been expressed.
Sure. And that sounds, whatever's gonna be best, I guess. Unfortunately, does that have to be?
Not to say that the person won't be involved in doing a lot of the.
No, absolutely, but
But is that one of these things that it's sort of, it doesn't have to be officially said in any of this? It's just like it's gonna just happen? Or do we have to officially say it somehow, or? I'd say, because I'd rather have clarity versus in the gray.
If you wanna make it part of your motion, please feel free. They don't don't have to agree with it, though. I just want to say, they don't have to agree.
I don't think there'd be opposition for that.
Sure.
I'm sure he would like the assistance. I mean, so I can't speak for him, but I don't think it'd be a problem. And I just want to comment quickly on the bleacher situation to let you all know that that is being rectified, like, probably by Saturday, so no worries there. It's not bolted in, and it'll be fixed.
Yeah, I think the additional information that provided was helpful for sure. And even going back to in the budget cycle, you know, I agree going for state grants when we can, but it might have been good just for clarity to know, hey, we're going for a state grant for this, but this is a need to have for the, you know, for the summer of '26 in terms of the work being done, meaning this is an expenditure we need to incur in this budget cycle. So we're going for the grant, but there's a risk, you know, we might not get it. And if we don't get it, this wasn't just, hey, this is opportunistic, we'll get it next fiscal year, because that was my thought.
I would hope that we could start sooner, you know, get a date to whoever I assign, you know, to talk with Claudio and see if we can get somebody in there for the beginning of next season, hopefully, and get it done as quickly as possible.
Well, no, that's good. That was gonna be my other comment. But yes, that'd be great, instead of, yeah, if they could do it early spring so it's ready for use. No, my point was
That
though,
would
Tony.
be my goal.
My point was that if we knew that there was an inevitability to this, like, hey, come hell or high water, we have to incur this expense in fiscal year '26, then that could have at least been in our back of minds. Hey, you know, we're gonna fund this, we're seeking to fund this via state grant, but this isn't a, hey, let's try it, and if we don't get it next fiscal year, we'll put it on our budget. Because that would have been the cleaner way to do this, but it sounds like, you know, the need's urgent, it's been on the radar for a while, it's not a out of the blue expense. I just thought we could have managed this in a way where we said, definitely go for the state grant if we can get it, but we could have at least all been aware that, hey, the contingency plans, if we don't, we should realize, you know, at least mentally, if it had that earmark during the budget season, that this is gonna be an eventuality, because of the timing need. So, I think it would be, you know, if we didn't have our CNR, right, if you guys didn't have any surplus, right, you guys don't have any surplus, we possibly could be having this conversation. Hey, we didn't get the state grant, we need that track. We asked for it in the budget cycle, we tried for the grant, we didn't get it. If this was a $400,000 ask, I
Yeah,
don't know.
but we're in a better position this way.
Oh, I agree,
We're
I'm
only
just saying.
200,000 plus out of our CNR, and they're putting up the remainder out of.
I agree, Tony, I was just saying, if they didn't have the surplus, if the surplus, they didn't have it.
Paying the whole thing
Right,
out of
and
our
I'm,
CNR.
and I'm just saying, if that was before us, we'd have to weigh, you know, we wouldn't wanna lose a track season, but then we would have had to realize, hey, we had to come off budget cycle with a 400 grand expense. Like you said, Ed, you know, we have the 1% budget before we ever go referendum over a year, and we're only 3 months in. So just a little better, you know, planning or foresight around what are the contingencies if the state grant didn't come through, what are the implications for the budget would be helpful. But I'm good otherwise, thanks.
Jim?
I mostly wanted to say thanks to everyone that came out and stated with their thoughts on the issue. Really appreciate that. It's good to hear from people like that. I wish it happened more often. I wanted to thank Selena, Tony, everyone for talking about their thoughts on this. I think everyone on this board supports this track. No one wants to see it lapse into obscurity or blocked off by, you know, caution signs or something. My biggest thing is I couldn't understand why the school has this surplus, why it's so important, but they don't want to fund it. That's what's strange to me, especially when I look and I say, well, we have to look after the rest of the town, and we can't get that money back from the Board of Ed. So what happens if we have no money left in our CNR? And that's what I was thinking. You know, it's not an adversarial thing. It was just, to me, it made more sense for you to spend it out of there. And that's where I'm just kind of been stuck, like trying to understand why it is that surplus, you want to hold on to it. And tonight you talked about a lot more about it than I heard last time, about why that is. And it's good to hear that. It's very helpful to know. And I think that kind of communication is really important between our boards to really understand where we're coming from, because we may both be in charge of budgets, but what happens and the dynamics of those are very different. So I want to say thanks for coming in and talking about that. I don't know if you had any other things that you had in mind about why that you really would like to hold on to those funds, or if you kind of elaborated that enough to the point where,
I mean, I just want to reiterate that budgeting for a school district is much different than regular budgeting, and things fluctuate.
Yeah.
There's a purpose, there's a reason that the state made this law and allowed us to keep this amount, is to avoid these, having to go back to board finance, relying on you guys to approve things. It's not a good look for the district. It looks like we went into the red. So I think that's why the law was begun in the first place, and I think it's for a good reason. But we don't normally have that much left over, obviously.
Yeah.
And we've already spent a lot of it on the track, so I think it was a good faith effort. Like I've mentioned, I think I've already mentioned all the variables that will come along, certainly. And if they don't, then it's still there for the next year for more emergencies that pop up. You know what I mean? It's not like we're just trying to keep the money just to keep it for no reason. I do think that it's important to have some cushion with all the things that fluctuate.
Well, and just to, for what you're bringing up, Jamin, is obviously this account and your numbers, they get updated monthly, right? So, obviously we're only in October, so you're only, 3-4 months into the fiscal year, okay? And obviously, as you've talked about, there's things that go through that can come up that are unexpected, right? Then, when we get together and take a look at the list of items and take a look at in April for fiscal year 27, right? Let's see what the next 6 months bring for you, see what the requests are, see where things going, and if, there's X number of items on there, and at that time, it's, okay, hey, we can fund X minus, and then it comes your decision as a board to, okay, we're gonna do this, this, and that with it. There's that piece of it too. So if there is a case of trying to get to both ends, where you guys get some security, where you make it through most of the year, and there is still something on this end of, okay, this number is still up this high or here, then as we go through the CNR process, or we go through our budgetary process, we have that discussion, take a look and go, okay, we're gonna move forward with this, this, and that, and then, you guys can then consider, what may be not going through this board. Does that make sense, what I'm kinda getting at?
You just like reassess at the end of each year. Yeah, I understand.
And look at it from that standpoint, so, just a thought. So. We'll go back around. Ed, Steve?
One thing that would have been, only if this happens again like this or whatever, that would have been helpful would have been a view of the CNR projects that are going on for the schools. I think last year there was, I don't know what the number was, might have been 10 of them, I don't know, maybe it was 8, 10, who knows? Like 2 or 3 ended up not happening because some other discovery happened. I would just be curious, like what the list looks like for this year. Are all of them still gonna happen? Are they all gonna still
Well,
get spent on or not?
We did just do that at
or-
our last meeting,
Oh,
so
okay.
when the minutes come out tomorrow, it'll be attached.
Okay.
There's a whole report of what has occurred, what's on hold, and there's a whole list, so I can send it.
Just so quick as I'm thinking of it, is everybody on here on the email list for their minutes and agendas and stuff? Yeah, cause I get it. How, if we wanna get those monthly,
It's on the website, on the Board of Education
right, but I actually get
website,
like
but
an
if you-
email from,
Well, you have students.
Because we're kids.
Children.
We have our
is
kids.
that how it works?
That's
Okay,
right.
I had no idea, that's why I was asking, is there a way that people, if they wanna get it, can they sign up to get the monthly, or no?
I could ask,
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, and
Could
maybe
they
have
be added to
Catherine
the
come to us next
distribution
month
list?
and let us know or something.
sure.
Okay, Steve, you good?
Yeah, a little bit germane to the conversation, for the CNR, for the CNR that we did approve for this year, just what's the timing of that? Because we can say, oh, we have the 200,000 or the 130 now in the CNR, but we did fund through the budget cycle $2 million of activities to be funded out of CNR. So does that money just become spent as
No, I mean
revenues?
theoretically,
Yeah.
we could do
Displace
nothing.
something, yeah.
And, when you get to project number 17, whichever one that is,
Yeah.
the finance director would say, well, we don't have any money, we're not doing it.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, you could displace it.
If we didn't change that tonight,
Right.
it wouldn't necessarily stop this, but, we'd be playing fast and loose with the accounting at that point. We'd know we had to change it later.
Well, so.
Or we
have
can.
2.1 million, say, 2.1
Right.
million budgeted for CNR. Let's just say, of the 17 things we planned, 3 of them just don't happen because of, we change our mind or something happens. Does Sharon still physically sweep out and account for it as CNR? Because I think
She shouldn't.
she should not.
I mean,
Whoever requested it, if they say they're not gonna use it for whatever reason, it goes back into CNR.
Yeah, and it stays.
It goes
in that
back
account.
into CNR.
But it
So that's
stays
what
in
I'm
there.
saying. So that's what I'm saying.
It
Like,
stays in there.
It's expended out of fund balance. That's what my question
I
is.
certainly can't speak for Sharon's, practices, or I certainly, even more so, cannot speak for how the computer treats it. But from a legal sense, it's not unlike, for example, any other expense we have in the town. We assume that we're getting $60 million plus in taxes and other things
Right.
in the course of the year to run the town and the Board of Education.
Right.
Well, let's say, God knows how this would happen, let's say we only got $30 million in taxes. At some point, we would not have enough money to run the town, and, we'd have to react to it in some way. So it's not unlike that. It's like, no matter how much we appropriate, we at least, at some point, have to have the money actually happen. And that's not unlike this. It's, we anticipate things happening in the future that
Well, my
obviously
question
happen.
is, I thought we voted to move money into the CNR, and then later said we will expend out of the CNR for these things. I thought there were two activities.
Well,
So
they
we
are.
did move money into the CNR. So to say we have 130 in CNR is, to me, not a current state of affairs. We actually have 2 million in CNR, in my opinion.
Or some smaller
some.
number based on what we've already done, yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, I
All
believe
right.
that's true, but that's, again,
It
it's more
speaks
about
to-
accounting than it is
Yeah.
about what really happens.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just a what if, what would, if we decided to pause this until maybe the normal budget window, what would be, what would that happen? Like, does that completely screw up, like, the competitions and things like that? I'm just,
It
price?
does. I mean, we host invitationals. They have standards. If they come and see our track is falling apart, we won't be able to host them. The CAAC comes out and assesses. It's a safety hazard. We've been told that. So there are a lot of reasons I think it really can't wait another year.
I'm just gonna jump in, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I thought this was talked about at one of the previous meetings, can't remember if it was Board of Ed or Council or which one, but with this quote only being good for X longer, if we let it go, this project's gonna jump in price. And I'm not looking to expend more than we got.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm
That's-
asking about. So what,
Yeah.
like, if we said, well, this would be easier just to do during the normal budget process, does that completely blow up, like, the whole school calendar for events and things like that? Have you already been told that
I
you
mean, we
can't
have
do any
track
more events?
season. We have to, we have to hold our sports seasons. We can't hold up in a whole other year. I mean, if you're saying budget season and then start the project in the fall, that's not feasible. Or even the following spring, that affects our track season. So I think it has to be done this year.
Yeah, because the other part too is I want to make sure we keep our place in line, because I'm assuming there's only so many contractors that do this, and every school's gonna want it done in June, July, or August.
So this
The
is it,
price-
really?
Yeah.
The price will just go up. as
And
we
the
know.
price will go up, yeah.
Well, I think we should differentiate. Have we been given formal communication by the CAC? I mean, what's the process for that?
Well, they come out and they make notes. They didn't officially say that they will shut us down on such and such a date, but we've gotten notes from them on it, yes.
Notes
I can
that
find
it's
out-
trending towards
Yes,
poor
I can find
condition,
out
yeah.
more specifics about that. if you
I'd hope
want.
they'd give us the benefit of having, a 6 to
Well,
12 months lead
Well,
time,
like, look what
not,
happened with football.
Football
It's-
field, they don't.
they just,
They just told us that we won't have any postseason games.
Oh, right, that whole,
If we didn't address it.
right.
But
Yeah.
they already can't use lane one, right, to compete?
Yes.
Lane one is already, you can't use it. So you go from 8-lane track to a 7-lane track, and you start all your races at lane 2. So it also reduces the number of competitors you can have.
And if we
Yeah.
can't hold meets at our school, we have to pay for busing to send them to other schools too,
Right.
so there's that.
And the big thing is try to be number one on the contractor's list to get it done as early as you can in the season, so we have it for the teams.
And the last quote that Claudio received they did sweeten it a little bit with adding some additional things I don't know that we would get next time around.
And all
that's
good.
in our packet, or that you talking after what happened last month? Or are you talking before then?
I'm talking about when we originally allocated the 150,000, went back to the town. and then
Okay,
it
so
came
this
to
is going
us.
back. Okay.
More recently, though.
Got it.
Within a month.
Okay. Jamin, any other questions?
Oh, no, just thanks to everyone that showed up and appreciate it.
One more time around. Ed? Steve?
Hey, the only thing, Tony, I did see, and I'm gonna miss it, like inside the bid, it says it includes base repair allowance. I don't know what that is exactly, but, so maybe they are building it, whether it be contingency or something, to actually fix the base if they have to, a small portion of it.
Their facilities manager received all this. I can only go by what was verbalized. The base is supposed to be in good shape. I would imagine that if there's spots that it does need to be touched up, they're doing as part of the project.
Guys, good? All right. Sorry to do this. We're gonna recess for 5 minutes because, well, I need to, so. Okay, we all good? Everybody good?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get back into it. All right, let's get into discussion then.
Well, I think, however we word this motion, I think we got CNR and the fund balance got to get factored in. And then I think whatever the words will be that we want the town oversight into it.
Sure. Do you want to take a stab, or?
I think we already have a motion on the,
We do, we'd have to amend it.
right.
Yeah, yeah, so if someone's gonna make a motion to amend, one, does someone have the dollars? Like how it all, well, I guess, I don't wanna complicate it too, but is this an opportunity where we're gonna talk about putting more into CNR?
So here's, I was gonna say, we would be 38,371 short if we want to even it out. Well, yeah, but I'm gonna suggest two things. One is, I'd suggest we do that as a separate motion under the same item of the agenda, to just move that money if we approve the,
So we can logistically approve the project before the money is in there?
yeah.
Okay, I just want to, listen, I'm trying to do this above board, that's
Well,
all.
just the analogy, we always approve the budget before we approve the tax rate, right? So, the money will get, as long as it gets there by the time
I'm-
it needs to be there.
I'm in the business of preventing future headaches, so,
And I think it's easier to do it in two motions. We could make it one if we want to.
no, if two is cleaner, I know Steve has got particulars around who's running with it, but,
Yeah.
if we feel comfortable that we wanna move forward just with the appropriation, maybe with Steve's item about who's running point, and then to your point, Mr. Maley, if the motion passes, then do a subsequent motion in order to then figure out an amount to transfer from general fund balance to CNR. Is that what you're getting at?
I am, and I'm probably gonna suggest at that point that we do 40,000 as a round number instead of trying to hit it exactly on the number.
Further discussion?
And so then the motion will be then using all money in the CNR fund. We're not gonna say CNR and fund balance, we're just gonna say CNR.
We're going to say that this amount will be appropriated from CNR, knowing in our minds that we need to put more money in there to even it out from an accounting purpose. You know what? Why don't we just put it all in one motion if people are unclear about it?
So you wanna remove the current motion?
No, let me make an amendment to my own motion to add a second provision, transferring $40,000 from the current fund balance to the CNR account.
That's the
Second.
whole.
That's the
So,
whole addition.
Motion made, Mr. Maley, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. DeProto. So this discussion is strictly surrounding moving money from general fund balance to the CNR account.
Well, it's an amendment to the existing motion.
Right, but I'm saying,
Yes.
we have to vote on the amendment.
We do.
Okay. Steve, I know for your piece of it, maybe we do a second amendment, just to, because I'm sure once the minutes get done, I'm gonna get stuff thrown at me, so. Let's do this one at a time. So, the discussion now is about the amendment to move money from general fund balance into CNR in the amount of 40,000 even?
40,000. Yeah,
40,000 even.
Round number. Pick a round.
Discussion on that.
This is an amendment or an addendum?
It's an amendment to the
I
underlying.
thought you said you
motion.
wanted to do it all in one motion, now I'm told it.
Well, because it's an amendment to the one motion. It will become part of that motion.
So it's an addendum, not an amendment then,
No, it's an amendment.
No, we're amending the motion that's on the table.
okay.
So we're,
Without saying the whole motion, so you're adding
Yeah.
to the motion,
Right, it's an amendment.
good, sounds good, Robert's happy.
okay, just, does everyone get what's going on? Okay, okay.
In one fell
Further,
swoop, yeah.
further discussion. Okay, seeing none, all those in favor signify by raising your hand. Opposed, okay. So now the motion reads, that we would appropriate this money out of the CNR fund, and there would be sufficient funds by moving $40,000 from general fund balance into CNR. Do I have that summary correct?
In essence, yes.
Okay. Is there, Okay, so we're back on discussion. Steve, at this point,
Yep.
do you want to propose an amendment?
I'd like to make another amendment to say with supervision by the town for the project.
You want to do supervision? Do you want to say? Are you looking for the town to run like point or like? I'm just afraid supervision is a little vague.
Sure, that's fair.
I just want to make sure that you get what you're asking for here. Is Tony? Do you have a preference on how you want this kind of going? Do you feel comfortable with supervision? Do you want the town to run point with this to make decisions? Like, what are you comfortable with?
Well, first of all, I think it should be, yeah, I guess, those numbers, everything was gotten,
Yeah.
received by their
Mm-hmm.
facilities, director. So, he has to play a role, in my opinion, so.
Absolutely.
So there has to be, co-chair primarily though, oversaw by the town.
By the town manager's office.
Fine.
Steve, clear as mud?
Sure.
How do you want to word it?
Yeah.
How
So-
about in cooperation with the town manager's office?
Well,
No?
I just, the 200,000, yeah, that's fine. We're gonna get cooperation, one way or another.
We're going to amend it to say with cooperation of the town manager's office.
Okay, that is the motion. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Maley. Motion made by Mr. Wagonowski. Discussion on this amendment for, I'm sorry, cooperation? Is that the word? Cooperation between the town and the Board of Ed.
I'm just wondering what the intent is. It just kind of what James was saying before, that you have a little bit more second set of eyes on these things, or?
Yeah, I think that's where I was just so you, you don't need a second signature to say, hey, I approve of this, but at least someone to say, yeah, I looked at this, it's done within spec, and someone else, it's just a second review,
I'm gonna ask the
basically.
Board of Ed, their funding's gonna come over to our side, and we're gonna cut one purchase order out of the town, so. Everything, all the paperwork will come out of the town, pay for the project, et cetera. I hope I didn't know. It's the same way we run all of our CNR projects for them.
But we've done that without any of this language.
For the 200,000.
Right.
The
No, but
other share is theirs.
Yeah.
So,
Can,
I think the cooperation is a good word, and why don't we just leave it at that, and I'll take care of it.
yeah, I was trying to figure out a balance or something, but like, look, to Tony's point, like, this was all put together and run by, the Board of Ed's side. I mean, you haven't run into issues with working with them, right? I mean, things are,
I'll take care of it. Let's just,
you just
the
wanna,
wording Mr. Maley gave is fine.
which was what?
In cooperation with the town manager's office.
In cooperation with, okay.
I honestly don't know where that phrase would go.
I don't either, but
That's why I'm asking.
I
That's why I'm asking about the intent behind it. So it's
Yeah.
the kinds of things like, okay, yeah.
okay, so
So we
we're,
have that in
we're
the
gonna,
record.
people are gonna play their roles and we're just all just gonna keep each other in the loop. How's,
Listen, I got a good relationship with the superintendent, I think I got a good relationship with the Board of Ed.
Yeah.
Bottom line is I work through the superintendent, and I'm sure we'll have cooperation.
okay,
I seconded the motion because, let's talk about it. But just for legislative intent, I, at least, am certainly not trying to slow this project down or require to anybody who doesn't already have to sign off on it to sign off on it or to slow anything down, so.
We sign off on, I'm gonna ask.
Already, yeah, right, yeah.
Already, so I'm gonna ask that their funding, whatever account it is, wherever it is,
Okay, but the, the Board of, the role that the folks on the Board of Ed side for the project, they will still,
Actively involved.
yeah. Okay, we're comfortable?
Sure.
All right, we're doing good work. Okay, so is there a, there's an amendment on here, there's a second for what wording?
In cooperation with the town manager.
In cooperation with it. Mr. Maley, you had suggested that, that's the wording? And Steve, that was your,
Yes.
okay. In cooperation with. Any more discussion about cooperating? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor, raise your hand. Yeah, I'm just doing raising our hand tonight, just gonna, yeah. So, okay. Anybody else want to make any fun changes to this? No? Okay, we are back to discussion around the twice amended motion, where we now have enough funds in CNR for the project, and we have cooperation between the two sides. Further discussion.
In the 40,000, we don't have to say where it's coming from,
We said it was coming from fund balance.
and that's in there?
Yeah.
You guys heard those words? I just couldn't remember if I heard the words.
That
I
was the
just don't
first,
remember-
that was the first,
No, Steve, we're starting to hit that point where it's all just running together.
yeah, this is, again, next budget season.
I voted last time, I don't know if they're both
Okay. We're good? Okay. All those in favor of the twice amended motion, please signify by raising your hand.
Twice amended, see, it gave you something to refer to.
All opposed? Okay, we have a track. Thank you, everybody. Moving on. Item I, approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. I'll give everybody a few minutes or a few seconds, depending on how I feel, to take a look. Question. With the motion that took place where it was a 3-3, because it's an appropriation, do we need to have the individuals listed or no? Anybody know? Or does it matter?
I thought it said it's always anonymous.
It's always anonymous?
No, we actually had what I always say is, when you have a voice vote, you don't
Yeah.
single out who abstained or whatever, or voted in the contrary.
All right, so do we need to amend I-1 to show the 3 in favor and 3 against the individuals? It is not required? All right, I'm not looking to make more work for the heck of it.
It needs to be clear that 3 voted against it.
Yes, it's on, that's on there.
And there was, I believe there was a handbook.
Yes, it was. That's why I'm saying it was a vote on appropriation, so,
I think that's reflected here.
okay. Anybody see any other items of note? All right, seeing none, can I have a motion to pass the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Who abstains?
You can,
You
do
abstain?
not, but people frequently do, but you do not.
And you abstained. So it's 4-0-2. Okay, item J, report of the town manager. Tony, I promise this time not to ask you the same stuff twice.
Well, first off, I want to say, this is Brian's last meeting. I know I said it earlier, and I just want to say, as the town manager, working with Brian as the tax collector, it's been nothing but a pleasure. I think this is his last official meeting. He says he's gonna come to some, I don't know why.
Come on. Where else would you rather be?
But
Come on.
I do want to say it has been a pleasure working with him as tax collector. We had a great relationship. I'm going to miss him. He did a phenomenal job in that office, and wish him well in his retirement. Big news is that the medical building opened this week and fully operational. So that's good news. Pretty much all the economic development issues that I stated last month are all in the works still. We still have a lot of irons in the fire of individuals looking at Cromwell, and hopefully soon we'll report. I think I can give you a couple of things. The former Price Right out at Cromwell Commons is now going to be okay, we got an auto zone, so we're getting, it's another auto parts dealership. No, it's Advance Auto. So they've taken over the whole former supermarket, and they're hoping, they're remodeling now, because part of it will be part of their warehouse, and then part of it will be their showroom.
Okay, that makes sense.
Where Safeway Glass was, I don't know if you're aware, they left Cromwell, and I think it's called Burns Manufacturing. They took that whole spot also, and they're going to be doing manufacturing there. So that's another big plus for us as far as I'm concerned. I think that's about it as far as the big issues coming into town. Popeyes, everybody keeps asking. They're working on it, and I imagine they should have it all buttoned up and trying to make it before the construction season ends. As I said before, all our supermarkets, scratch that, all our shopping centers are doing very well. Most of their stalls are full. For instance, the old Blockbuster Video and whatever it was after that is now a Mediterranean market. They took all that space, so that's kind of unique and good use of it. That shopping center is pretty much filled up, as is the others. I was talking with Stuart yesterday, and there's some interest in the old Barb's location up at Cromwell Square, and Cromwell Commons is full, if I remember correctly. And we do have another pet shop coming. Not going to sell live animals, but supplies and services. And that's it. And unless you have a question.
No, just real quick, I was at Trick or Trunk, was that this past weekend? I think it was this past weekend.
Saturday.
I know, obviously there was a time change with it. I know there was some concern. I mean, hopefully you got some positive feedback. I mean, it seemed like it was packed. It seemed like people had a good time.
Yeah, all the feedback was positive.
Yeah, good.
Even on the time change, I know maybe some people weren't happy, but the parents seemed to be very happy with the younger children, especially some of the things that we experienced over the years with older individuals coming down and causing a little bit of problems, and they really thought it was a good idea to get it earlier in the day while it was still light out, and they really enjoyed it, and that's all the majority of comments that I have received on it.
Good. I'll go around, start this way.
Sure.
I'm just curious, do you know if, like, the new Middlesex building, does it have any tax abatements attached to it? I don't remember hearing any.
No, there's no tax abatement on that.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you.
Oh, and then didn't you want to know what maybe you found out the abatement on the land?
Yeah, the abatement on Amazon ended last year.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
No, that's still in effect. I think it has one to go, and then it's over.
Okay, I asked Sharon about that. She seemed to think it was over this
I thought it was
past
for
year.
10 years.
Aren't there three? Aren't there like three categories? Isn't it like the land, the building, and the contents?
I thought it was all covered under one, but I could be wrong.
I think there's,
I'll defer and
okay.
have Sharon definitely get the appropriate answer.
Okay, thanks. We can get down to the bottom of this.
Yeah, I think at the town council meeting, it was talked about the Route 99, the south part of Route 99, that old car wash area. What was the gist of that?
Oh,
Or
yeah,
gas station, yeah.
Been talking with the developer down there, who's done a lot of work in the city of Middletown, and he is going to build a cold storage facility. However, he's going to make it look like an office building. So the front of it facing Main Street will have windows as such, and the doors to the storage units will be on the rear side.
Just a question on the medical buildings on Route 3 there. Is the state looking, does that cause increased traffic in that area? Because there's a really weird merge right there. You know, as you're going northbound, and, you know, there's the intersection with Evergreen and
The state,
Like
STA looked at it, and no improvements were required.
okay. I saw, and there was like a, what do they call, survey crew out on that intersection. Is there any project plan for that intersection there between Evergreen and Shunpike?
No,
No.
nothing, just come, no, a
there's
private
like-
crew or a state crew.
No, I'm
not
assuming
aware of
it's,
any,
they were spray painting stuff on the ground. There's spray paint stuff all over.
Well, there is land behind the medical building that still is usable for development.
No, okay.
For those of you, mainly Mr. Maley remembers, that that was an area that they tried to build a mall going back to the 70s. And the citizens weren't in favor of it, and it got shot down. Then they built a residential neighborhood. They built 160 West Street, and they've been chipping away at it ever since. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Just stay right there. Any highlights that Sharon gave to you or anything to report, or?
Everything still looks good. She has copies, and Cassidy handed them out for you. All line items are still good. I would hope so with this time of the fiscal year.
Okay. Listen, I know Tony's pinch hitting here, but is there anything pressing or big from anybody here that we need to discuss tonight, or if we discuss with Sharon next month? But I'll toss it out there.
I will report that Sharon and we did close on a $42 million note Tuesday, I think it was. So that's complete now.
And what project was that for?
You're funny.
Uh-huh.
You're good.
Okay, hey, you got it, if you don't laugh.
But again, we were looked favorable. We got a good rate.
Yeah, no, it was a nice, obviously, glad to see it go in a good direction, so. Anybody have anything for Tony pinch hitting tonight?
Just maybe for the November meeting, as it relates to that, I think there was discussion about when the payback period would start for that, and how much interest would accrue and be due within this fiscal year, so.
I thought we handed that out with the last month. I could be wrong. If not, I'll have her give you the timesheet on it.
Okay.
We're
Yeah,
paying the interest, yeah, we did give it out. We're paying the interest only this year, fiscal year
26.
26, and payments, interest and payments start next fiscal year.
All right. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Hey, Brian.
Brian, come on, man. You're really you're gonna miss this. I'm telling you now.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you to the town manager for those nice words. I really do appreciate it. Want to go through the monthly cash collection report. Should be in your package for September 2025. So this is cumulative for the first 3 months of the year. So you can see we've deposited $28.6 million into the general fund through the collector's office. It nets out to a net deposit of about $28.5 million against our budgeted revenue of 52.4. So that gives us an overall collection of 54.35. I'll show you the trend line on the next sheet in a second. The one thing I want to point out on this report is that every year one of the wild cards is budgeting that supplemental motor vehicle, because we don't know what that grand list is going to look like. So when you set that mill rate, that's always a wild card. Good news is that the assessor's office informed us this week that she completed the grand list, and the billing's going to exceed $600,000. That's going to go out in December for collection in January. So kind of using the same historical percentages, we should be able to collect about $500,000 plus in supplemental taxes. So that'll give us, just on that one line item, over $100,000 positive impact compared to the budget. So that was just a kind of a wild card out there that now that that's clear, that's good news. The danger would be if our grand list for the supplemental was under that budgeted number, we'd have a bit of an issue. So that's good news. Right now, I'm really working on two things: collecting delinquent taxes. We did a second mailing, so we do the billing for July, and then in August, anyone that hasn't paid in July gets a August delinquent notice. And then we just did another one the 6th of October to try to collect any past due taxes. Working with the auditor to close out last fiscal year. I don't see any problems. I'm trying to get all that wrapped up before the election. I don't see any issues for the town audit from the tax collector office right now. I've supplied them with everything they've asked for and had some follow-up discussions with them, but I'll try to wrap that up. And then I'm also going to be working on the knowledge transfer of the position with a new collector. So I'll be working between the time of the election and the following week. I've already, since we only have one candidate, I've already started some dialogue with the one candidate. And
that makes sense.
She's excited about the role, and I'm working with her. The other page in your packet is that trend line on the collection of the percent collection. So you can see, as we talked about last month, on a percentage basis, we're at 54.35. That's about 1% or so below kind of historical. Again, what we talked about last month is our biggest real estate taxpayer didn't pay the first installment because of a credit, so they'll make that up in January. That one payment we'll get from them in January is about $550,000, so they're going to make that payment. So that'll help us catch up. And that with the supplemental budget overage in the past due, I think we'll be in good shape with the budget. It won't be easy to exceed it, but we should be okay by the end of the year.
Okay.
With that, I don't have anything else other than to say thank you for your support and during the past couple years, and I'll take any questions you have.
Now, Brian, you've been, I mean, you're here, you sit and you watch through everything we do until God knows whatever time. No, look, it's been beyond a pleasure to get these reports, to have clarity, to have everything you've put together, and you're leaving this in great hands. And, you know, well, I can speak for all of us. We're gonna miss, you know, working with you. Obviously, wish you nothing but the best, you know. But, you know, how long is is it 2-year term still, or did they change it to 4?
Well, the charter vote that's for the election is
Oh,
to
that's
change
on
it
there?
to 4.
Change
So
it to
it's a
4?
It's going to be a 2-year term this time, and then thereafter it'll be 4. So it'll be timed up with the mayor's race, and then
bit.
4 years.
Yeah, gotcha. All right. Well, I don't have any particular questions. Like I said, you're leaving us in a great spot, and we have clarity. So that's all we can ask for. So, Mr. Mayorley, go ahead.
Just wanted to add my endorsement of everything that John just said, and say, notwithstanding that I'm fully in support of your apparent successor, we are sad to see you go, and you did a phenomenal job. In a very short period of time, turned a situation that was in dire shape around very quickly, and just want to give you all appropriate praise for doing that.
Thank you,
again.
Ed.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
Jamie, anything?
All right.
Steve?
Brian, of course, fantastic, right? Gonna miss you much. The comment about, I think it was a supplemental motor vehicle, right? That was the one that right now has zeros in it. But that's the one in December, you're sending out $600,000 worth of bills, basically, you think you might get like 500. I think
Yeah,
that's what
I
you
think
said,
by
right?
the end of June, it'll be over 500.
Over 500,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Then, I'm sorry, I thought you had said like $1 million either over or favorable, or maybe I misunderstood what you were saying. Is that gonna repeat itself, so it'll be like 500 plus another 500 later on, or no, or?
No, I was referring to our largest real estate taxpayers, Covenant Village. And they, because of a credit from a court finding, they didn't make their first installment. They didn't have to, but they're gonna make
Make it anyways.
in January, we'll get their second real estate installment. It will
This
be
page, all right.
$550,000.
So that's the 550 plus the 500, that's the million.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
the drag on the 1.5 on the
That's the
yeah,
drag
election.
that we got right now. Yep,
You good, Steve?
Yep.
Matt?
Thank you again, Brian, no. All set.
sure.
Jamie?
All set.
All right, thank you, guys.
We know you'll be watching.
I'll be watching. Thank you very much.
Fourth Thursday of every month, we know you'll be right there. So, thank you. School building. How's that bus loop coming?
Yeah, the bus loop is expected to be done by Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
So pretty good, yeah. And the multi-purpose field, they said they are going to seek to have the sod placed on it within the next few weeks. But it's expected that it will need time to take hold, take root more, and really establish itself in the spring to be ready for use, in the fall, I guess.
So it's still a year away.
Late summer, fall, yeah. We had some, I'm sorry, guys, I should have sent in advance the financial summary, but we continue to maintain roughly north of $4.5 million unencumbered balance, which is mostly about $4 million in bid savings and unused owner's contingency. There are just some few items that are still trickling in, even for what they call FF&E, furnitures and equipment and stuff, as a few of the staff gets acclimated, a couple little things here and there, still within the FF&E budget itself. So we're not infringing on any above our budget item for that phase. And then the photovoltaic system, we had a joint meeting with the BOE to go out to the state to get approval for the documents that we would then go to bid for, to get the solar system done. Or procured, and that wouldn't be operational until next summer at this rate. By the time we go to bid, get the bids back, award the bid, and they do the job in the spring kind of type of time frame. So longer than we would have liked, but in a backdoor way, this gives us a chance to actually see what the power consumption was prior to that. Yeah.
Like, have you had a chance to gauge what the usage is and?
No,
Feel for it.
that's a great question. I mean, maybe Castellina or one of us could think to add Catherine. I mean, they certainly have the electric bills, so they'd have at least since since they went live in July, you know, a good 4 months worth of baseline and, you know, a good 2 months worth of baselines with the students in there. And, you know, maybe they can just sniff test that compared to, the usage compared to last, you know, September, October. No, good
Yeah,
question.
It should hopefully
yeah.
at least establish a baseline for when the panels do go on, so they could.
Yeah,
could see that.
I mean, they're still presuming that the, production will only cover 60% of the need. But we'll see.
And
so.
do we, was there any impact with the, I don't know if this impacts this project, like the solar credit things that are expiring? Like, does
No,
the project
those,
get impacted by those?
those only, a lot of those only apply to residential
Okay.
homeowners. You know, like, they think of it, a lot of it as tax rebates, so,
Yeah.
you know, we're not a taxpayer, so, but, I think I had mentioned this before, through some of the, not related to the solar, but just through the energy efficient, equipment that we put in, we're awaiting and expecting 550,000 in terms of rebates, from Eversource. So, I know Rosanna, the chair, is making sure, you know, do we have everything filled out? Make sure Eversource has what they need, cause it's due by the end of this month, so that we can, be awarded that money back to the town.
Good.
So that's,
So where do those rebates go?
to the town of Cromwell as the building owner, not to the project, so, just,
So we could.
you know, something
could
that we
just
should,
be Revenue that comes to the.
yeah,
town?
yep,
So we could-
so we should see it pop up as miscellaneous or other source revenue at some point.
So we could get like.
I don't know how long
the
it'll
goal-
take them to process it, but our deadline, for that,
Give us more reports like that.
Yeah, like.
yeah, yeah.
So we could get a gold-plated track, is what you're saying.
Oh, boy. Motion passed.
We should have invested in the gold-plated track, 2
Go-
years ago.
Go ahead, Ed.
So just, I'm sure I'm the only one who's gonna think about this, but, so we have extra money that we haven't spent. The first thing that pops into my head is arbitrage. So I assume we're paying attention to making sure that whatever money we hold or spend, meets all requirements for the spending of bonded money under federal.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, okay, so.
For any money we spend, yeah, but
Well,
in the
but
case of
any-
the rebate, I think that's
Well, no, but I'm
extraneous,
saying
right?
the concern is, and this is so obscure, but it's big, is if we bond for more money than we spend, the feds hate that, and impose what can be very, very, very severe
Sure.
penalties for hanging on to that money. But there's ways to fix it, you just need to be aware of it.
Well, we've at least, you know, the project has at least expended, 53 some odd million, 58
Yeah.
some odd million, and we bonded for 42, so I
Right.
think we're,
Right.
yeah. Yep,
But,
no,
you
everything
know,
is, yeah, everything is.
Net, you still gotta, you know.
Yeah,
I
no,
just-
everything is,
Just
you know,
like to
you know,
keep
we
that-
went with the solar panels and
Yeah,
the
I
rigmarole
know,
we had to do
but
there,
I'd
so.
like to keep that thought in mind.
No, but everything else is good there.
My daughter loves the school. Like, she's thrilled, just on a personal.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I mean, I think, you know, personal experience, and I know with the teachers, you know, it's not like that honeymoon's worn off yet. So I think they enjoy the extra light that comes in different areas, they've made use of the outdoor space, so there's a lot of, positives there.
And my basketball team I'm gonna be coaching is gonna get into that gym, right?
Yeah, you know what, yeah, while the gym floor is still kind of, I'll say, under evaluation, it is being used, or I've been told it's being used by the school. There was actually a request prior to, necessarily there being the squeak issue with that, that the town not open it up, that the school not open up for town use until November anyways.
Yeah.
So those things may have gotten convoluted, like, oh, the groups are being told we can't use the gym, oh, is the gym not usable? That was maybe conflated with, no, there was already a plan to, like, just hold off
Yeah,
until November, and then, you know, they're evaluating, you know, why they're feeling, you know, hearing those squeak sounds with the floor, and we'll have a report, I think, by the end of this month.
Okay.
In terms of what the action plan is, but it's not gonna be a quick solution. So
Yes.
I think it's, you know, we're gonna have to grin and bear it for a while and see what, you know, make sure at the end of the day we have something that, you know, we paid for something, so there's performance criteria, so.
Any questions from Matt?
The 4 to 5 million favorable, I think is about that. You said 4 to 5 million. Does that
Yeah.
include anything with solar, or is it
Not
solar?
yet. So the solar would, in theory, come out of like our owner's contingency and some unused construction manager's contingency, without impeding on what we'll say is about 4 million in bid savings. So that's the hope, is that we can.
So your best guess, what's this gonna end up?
Best guess is the total project inclusive of solar, gross would be, instead of the 72.6, you know, maybe we come in at close to like 69.
And is there in anyone's head, like a date when pencils are down and we start that process of trying to get the money back from the state? I'm not talking about when we're gonna get the money from the state, just when we submit.
In terms of
start the
pencils
clock.
down, I mean, just looking at our, we have an encumbered balance of 9 million right now. So still, still to expend. So this project is gonna go well through the fall. The fields, right? The multi-purpose field still not completed. There were still bills to be paid, and I think some of the work's been done, but, you know, gets billed in arrears. So, I think the idea is that, I mean, the crew themselves are off the site, like there's no longer the trailer there and stuff, but, I think well into the fall, we'll still be kind of, this project will be opened, and then while it's under state audit, it still can technically opened. We won't be actively spending money, but we may have to be corresponding and things like that. I mean, there's some weird things where, you know, like they wanted some vacuums, because they ordered brooms. They figure, oh, there's no carpet here, we don't need vacuums. Okay, well, we need vacuums. But at some point, some of these things would just be, these are normal operational things. So we're probably gonna kind of peel away from that.
So maybe just to say, are you thinking like sometime early spring, pencils might be down, and that's when the clock will start, when we're gonna get the money back from the state?
That's as good as guess as any.
As guess,
Yeah,
right?
that's as good as guess as
Guess,
any.
yeah.
And then as far as saying what is our expectation for, what we're waiting on, obviously we're waiting for the state to sign off on the project, but financially we're waiting on XYZ dollars. You know, I've asked that again of the owner's reps, so, you know, they know my request is in there.
Do we have last question, I guess, do we
Yeah.
have in your head even, like an estimate then, once the pencils are down and we submit it, we're gonna be waiting for 5 million back, some other number
That's what I
like
mean,
that?
like
We don't know yet.
getting that
that
within a
number.
stone's throw soon
Okay.
will be, I think after all the expenses are done, they will then be able to look back and say, hey, what did they think were eligible versus ineligible? But not until then, I've just been kinda held off on that. I mean, I have my own personal guess, but I don't wanna plant a seed and make it, I mean, again, we're not talking like 1 million, and we're not talking 10 million, we're not talking 1 million, probably somewhere material, so we'll have to wait and see. Cause then we can start kind of
Sure.
advocating, I think, to the legislatures about,
Yeah.
you know,
I was gonna say, Ed, what do
Yeah.
you know, and how can we get our money back faster?
yeah. One other thing, just on the, if I may, it's somewhat related to school, but I don't know if folks are aware, and sorry, I should have probably given Selena a chance to bring this up, but I think the school has relooked at the fees that they charge outside user groups for their facilities. I don't know, maybe this is shared amongst multiple user groups, but particularly to some of the performance groups in town. So I think there was this idea that, you're not saying good, bad, or indifferent about it, but their idea was, well, the money that's received from here will be earmarked for improvements. I don't know, right? We see how kind of challenging it is to bucket money in broad swaths like CNR versus fund balance, and now we're talking about keeping track of money that's collected from outside user groups that's some maybe paid to the town and is going to be put in a lockbox for improvements. I don't know. Not anything we need to decide on, obviously, or discuss unless somebody has thoughts, but just thought I'd let folks know that was part of, I think, the intention of, hey, like, you can tell the user groups, don't worry, this is just going to be put back to maintaining the facilities, but I think that's only as good as the tracking around that, so that's all. All right.
No, you're good. Nope, thank you. My comments, I don't really have too much. I think we kind of, went through a fair amount tonight. No, just appreciate everyone's participation and cooperation stuff, and unless someone has any questions for me, I think I'm pretty good spot. Steve?
The only thing I have is just a reminder again for the Community Events Committee. We have our pasta dinner this Saturday, October 25th, from 5 to 7 at the Coles Road Firehouse, and everyone's certainly welcome. Yes, sir.
Good and welfare, anybody? All right, nice job, everybody, 9:49. Thank you.